G-Unit. 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 My mama will be knitting. Yo, I'm going. What's that? What's that? Yo, Evie, we're going. Wow, we speaking to other people? You not saying nothing. You just typing. I'm doing all the talking. So next, you ain't saying shit. You hear me talking. Robot. What's the live about? Look at the top. So yeah, some people was on it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So people were on one of these videos that Marshall, who people call Young Pharaoh, one day he'll get elder. But yeah, Marshall was talking about DNA from Neanderthals and things of the such, and I think what might have happened is people may have gotten some type of notion that YP actually knows what he's talking about when it comes to taxonomy. You know, because most people think they know what they're talking about. Because people stand there with a microphone in their hand and they're saying shit. But nobody fact checks them. Nobody goes back to see whether or not these people know what it is they're speaking on. So, not only that, he was another person talking about you say you can't hear? Okay, we should be good. Can y'all hear me now? So, as you can see, the title says carbonated beings, right? And I think it should be clear. It should be sound now. Y'all should be able to hear me now. Yeah, we back. And like, nigga, one nigga had no faith. Your audio is fucked. It's goddamn. Ye have so little faith. All right, I'm chilling. So, what it say? Carbonated beings, so-called black people have zero animal DNA. Well, this is a lot to unpack. It's a lot to unpack just in that alone. Then it says other races of people did not come from us. All right, I gotta go inside. I thought I would be able to do this outside, but I didn't realize how stupid this shit was till I looked at it. And I also offered for some people to come on and speak to me. I'm sure they got their questions. They wanted to talk in the comments. And somebody was screaming at me through explanation points, and they demanded that I answered the people. I don't know who the people is, but I guess they were talking about the few people that had things to say about my comment on this post. And my comment on this post was very simple. I didn't go too much in detail, but I did say 3 letters, and I was like, cap. And people didn't like that. They like, so you speaking on another black man and da-da-da-da. You know what I mean? And some people was like, yo, can you explain how it's cap? Because I was brainwashed too, and all this other stuff. So I was like, maybe I can help them, and I'll see what I can do. All right? So what we're going to be doing is going over basically how not only this is cap, how most of the things that are taught in this arena are cap. And I promise you, if any of these people were to get up here, which I'm going to give them an opportunity to, and I could say the word school, can I, without people getting upset? If I schooled them on taxonomy, or what's actually the taxonomic science, things that archaeologists and all these other people have gone to school for years. And you can't just study for a few seconds and think you understand it, or you don't listen to a TikTok video and think you understand it. However, I was made to study it when I was younger, right? Which is why I tell people, first of all, human beings are a part of what they call the animal kingdom. Let's start there. If I ask them, what is our genus? They won't know. I say, what order are human beings in? They won't know. They're going to think I'm talking about masonry and Rosicrucian. No, excuse me. You're a part of the order of primates. And you have a lot of ancestors who are also primates. You are also a part of the order of, not even necessarily the order of, the group called hominins. And you have a lot of ancestors who are hominins. And as you may be aware of, there are plenty organisms here living that are a part of the animal kingdom, which you are also a part of. You with me? So there are plenty ancestors that you have that you share with those who you refer to as Caucasians or Caucasoids. This is where it gets interesting. People who believe that melanin dominant people don't have DNA, they have what's called DEA, are attempting to have a conversation about evolution. They're attempting to have a conversation about DNA. They're attempting to have a conversation about what's called animal DNA. But they don't even believe, or they don't even know about, for one, what DNA is. For two, the fact that all human beings possess it. In this same video, young Pharaoh or Marshall went on to say that we, who are called melanin dominant people, have what's referred to as neuromelanin, and that others don't have neuromelanin. So as you can see, there's a lot to unpack, a whole lot to unpack. So we're gonna have to take our time with this one. Let me go ahead and get comfortable, put this charger in, and I'm gonna do my best to talk to whoever think they ready. But we're gonna get all that figured out, because all of that is illusion and confusion. And they make it seem like they know what they're talking about, and they can get away with it, have gotten away with it, because y'all don't know what they're talking about. And because you want to be lazy and not really study what they're talking about, then they get away with it, make it seem like they know. All right, so we're having a few different conversations here. Let's deal with it. We got carbonated beings. Okay, that means we're dealing with biology and chemistry. If we keep it simple, biology and chemistry right there. So-called black people, we're dealing with identity politics. I don't think we're going to have to cover that too much, but if we did, I would have to say that that's where that falls into the category of. It have zero animal DNA. We're dealing with genetics there, and we're dealing with class, right? The class system of, again, taxonomy, which is DNA and the diversity of DNA and how human beings and other animals evolve from things like autosomes and all these other things. So we had to go into that. Okay? So, firstly, Jesus, carbonated beings is not a thing. That's not a thing. It's fake. It's some esoteric spiritual community shit. Has absolutely nothing to do with science. Listen, for the person that do I believe in evolution, let's get it right? This person, Marshall, who is on the screen, believes in evolution because he's trying to tell you that Caucasians evolved from what are referred to as Neanderthal. All right. So if Marshall is speaking on Caucasians having used to have been Neanderthals, then he believes in evolution, not I. You need to be asking him that. All right. Interestingly enough, if he believes that the Neanderthals exist or existed at a certain point of time and that they have descendants who became Caucasoids or Caucasians, then he must have also, which I'm sure he did to be talking on it, right? He must have also researched the ancestors of Neanderthal, right? But wrong, because these people don't think it's important to research anything. You see what I'm saying? They don't have to. All they have to do is regurgitate things that people think they understand because they're regurgitating them. Ask any of these people to tell you who the ancestors of the Neanderthal are. And if the Neanderthal existed and they have ancestors, here's another question. Do the Homo sapien, Homo erectus, and Neanderthal all have common ancestry? And watch them squirm and squeam. Why are they going to do that? Because Their thing is start on a point or a topic, speak on it as if you understand it, never research it. So they won't be prepared to answer these questions. And then if they try to say, well, we don't believe the white man, well, then why are you using the white man's words? If you don't believe in the ancestry, how they taught it, if you don't believe in geology, how they taught it, if you don't believe in evolution, if you're not a part of the Darwin Club, then why are you out here teaching evolution and all these other things? You understand? They'll stick with a story like Yaqub. They'll stick with a story of Yaqub and go out here and teach that and preach that like they know it's true over science and taxonomy and all these people have built whole establishments and civilizations off of these sciences, right? And then in turn, they'll go and use the same exact words that they telling you they don't believe in. You with me? So first of all, if we're dealing with the Caucasians, who is the word you would need to use there is Europeans, right? Because it is based off of the location at that time period. Whoever these beings were of the Homo erectus descendants who would have migrated and left from Africa or any other places, sub-Saharan, if they would have left and gone to, which they said they did, Asia, different parts of Europe, right? They would have been the ones who, based off the climates, because they had a lot of climate changes that were going on. They said they suffered from things like the Ice Age and all of that. If they would have left around that time period and taken on different places to live geographically, then over time they would have de-evolved, if you want to say de-evolved, because they say evolve. However, if they did possess a melanin dominant gene, all right, at one point in time, which is what everybody say, we got to get it to Lucy. Because again, if you're speaking on taxonomy, evolution, all this other stuff, you can't leave Lucy out. All right, we'll get around to that. So if they did possess at one point in time, through any type of ancestry, the melanin dominant gene, and even their climate or their environment or their lack of sunlight and certain types of foods, all right, during the Ice Age, if that did happen, caused them to recede in their genes, then that means that not only do we all have that common ancestry, it's only because of their location that they became that group that you're referring to as Neanderthals. You understand that? And also other type of climatic events that took place globally that would have caused for them to lack certain things that yielded stronger melanin, which became eumelanin and all this other stuff. So a lot of people don't think of it this way because you think a Neanderthal just popped up out of nowhere. No, Neanderthals have ancestry as well, and we'll get into that too. So those who were there in that time period called the Neanderthals yielded European ancestry, European descendants. And it's their lineage that has now, if they do share that, those who are the Europeans now, if they do share that, because we got to think about it, over time, there have been so many races of beings or groups of beings who interbred. And if you don't know what interbreeding is, it means, yeah, you could have been a part of the group of people who, at this point in time, we had this specific DNA, we had this specific, but then those people migrated also. And when they came across certain groups, it was said that they interbred. And it was the interbreeding that caused for now the mixed DNA situation that people have all over the planet, where you can't just say by looking at somebody and looking at their phenotype or studying their genotype alone, you can't just say that that present being at that moment as the configuration that it is only that. So if you're looking at somebody who's a melanin dominant person, right, you could be looking at a descendant of the Neanderthal, couldn't you? Anybody that will argue that doesn't understand what they're speaking about. So if you have a European at this point in time, the only recurring gene or recurring science that could allow for them to still have, Neanderthal ancestry at this point in time allows for only 1 to 2% of that to survive. So if they do have anybody, because it's not just quote unquote European, let me get this straight. If you say European, you're not talking about Caucasian people. A European, if I say I'm a European, what does that mean? It means that I'm from Europe. I was born in Europe. You see how these people don't know what they're talking about? If I say I'm an African, what does that mean? I was born in Africa. If I say I'm an Asian, I was born in Asia. If I say I'm a Russian, I was born in Russia. If I say I'm an Indian, I was born in India. Are you with me? People get that confused. They think African means the melanin dominant gene. And then because of all of the split, they had a split of what's referred to as Negroid, Caucasoid, and then you have Mongoloid. Because of all of these different splits, people started to associate where those splits were occurring, where you have predominantly over here Mongoloid, predominantly over here Caucasoid, predominantly over here Negroid, people looked at those splits and that predominance in that area and said, okay, this is what we're going to not only call these people based off of this area, we're going to associate any people who look like these people with those people in that area because they must be from that area if they look that way. Is that the truth? Okay, when you look at certain quote unquote African people who are supposed to be born in the continent of Africa, don't they look like certain people born over here in America? And in today's day and age, do you have melanin recessive people being born in Africa? Yes, you do. So by definition, they're Africans. People may a landmass be associated with genes. The landmass has absolutely nothing to do with the genes. Those people could have risen up and had children on clouds, and people would have called them Cloudians. You know what I mean? If you want to talk about genealogy, that's another thing. All right. So you got geography, genealogy, taxonomy, all these other things, chemistry, biology that come into place that you have to understand about when you want to have these types of conversations. So a European is not a Caucasoid. There were just many Caucasoids who were in Europe. All right. African isn't a Negroid. There were just many Negroids in Africa. And even still, those words are limited in how much could be expressed when you use in terms like that. You have to go into the genes and deal with whether or not there's a melanin dominant gene present or a melanin recessive gene present. So you'll look at someone who looks like what they think an African looks like, right? Or someone who looks like what some of the ancient Moroccans look like, or some of the ancient Olmecs look like, or some of the ancient Turtle Island inhabitants look like. And you'll see, okay, these are woolly haired people. Sometimes their hair doesn't clump up because of how it's growing, depending upon whatever that gene is yielding follicle wise. So you have some with less rough hair, as they call it, or kinky hair or kingly hair. Then you have some who have more kinky or coarse hair, as they call it. All right. But it depends on, again, the gene that yields whatever that formula is for that follicle to grow in that way. All right. So then you have eumelanin, the production of that. And then you have pheomelanin, all these different things that come into play based on how the gene is expressing itself. So not everybody who was from Africa had that firm, strong, powerful eumelanin presence. Some of their genes started to mutate over time and they got lighter. And then it depends on, because remember, human beings don't reproduce asexually. Y'all let me know if you still hear me. Okay, it's all right. So then those who come from anybody, it could be your parents, your great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparents, they still have to mix with someone for that next generation to come about. You understand? So whatever genes you have right now is a result of a whole ancestral tree. You have to go and study pedigree. You don't have, they shouldn't even call it a lineage, because that's not how ancestry actually works. I keep getting a call, y'all. I'm on live. I don't know why people do that to me. All right, but that's not how ancestry works when it comes to taxonomy. When it comes to taxonomy, especially, okay, it's not how you have a whole, so it's different groups. And then generations, you'll have thousands upon thousands, then tens of thousands of people who are supposed to be ancestors who mixed in, however they mixed in. But you wouldn't be here as human beings without sexual reproduction. Okay, so no matter who you are, you have millions of ancestors who have mixed in over time, and they mixed in from people that they mixed in with over time, and they mixed in with people they mixed with over time. So there is nobody who can look and say clearly right now that they are part of this specific lineage, definitely, because of all of the different types of beings who came into play for them to exist as they exist now. So, okay, cool. Here's another thing that people are dealing with, because we got to go over a lot of things that may be a dilemma in the fallacy that they teach. If human beings are melanin dominant people only and Caucasians are animals only, please answer this question. How is it that human beings are able to reproduce with animals? How is it possible? right? Because if you attempt to, human beings can't reproduce with animals. Then why is it that these Caucasians, who's supposed to be these animals and have animal DNA, why are they able to reproduce with human beings? The only way that will be possible is two things. Their reproductive systems are compatible. And another thing, most important thing, which is to cover all of this, common ancestry. If there were no common ancestry, it would not be possible. You understand that? So to this day, you could take someone who's a Caucasoid and a Negroid, and they can mix and they'll have a child together. All right. And then the dominating gene, which is most of the time melanin, the melanin dominates, right? That dominating gene shows up and you'll see someone who's most of the time lighter skinned and they'll still have curlier hair. Remember, I talked to you about that follicle, but their gene is there starting to dominate. It doesn't dominate all the way because there's still present the DNA set that aligns with the Caucasoid. However, if that child, who they call biracial, went on to mate with another melanin dominant person who possessed the genes of either melanin dominant, melanin recessive, or melanin dominant, guess what will happen in the next generation with those two people? That's the biracial or the biracial, and the biracial or the semi-racial, or not semi-racial, just the uniracial. All right. What I mean is if the mixed child mixes with either a mixed child or someone who isn't mixed and they're so-called black or Negroid, the next generation, that child will have stronger genes as far as the melanin presence. Okay. So then their hair may be thicker. Their eumelanin may be more present. All right. Or it may stabilize where you'll see a lot of the brown pigment, like how you're looking at my skin, right? A lot of the brown pigment, it may not get darker over time. It may stabilize. So then you'll mix in with more people. If they have that same pigment and the same types of genes, then you'll have what people are looking out now. And they see in the hood or in certain communities where everybody kind of got the same skin color. All right. Or the same hair texture. But then what happens is you'll have lighter skinned people enter into the community. And then that gene will have to war with whatever, not necessarily war, but it'll have to dance with whatever it is that's coming in. And then the next children may be born lighter. It doesn't even have to deal with or do with whether or not that person is Caucasoid. Are you with me? And even still, that heredity goes back a few steps at times. So you'll have two light-skinned people, all right, who come together and their genes still possess that dominant potential. And they'll have two light-skinned people come together, and what'll happen? Y'all seen it happen. Somebody be born to them and they're darker than both of them. You understand what I'm explaining to you? Only way it doesn't happen is backwards. The melanin recessive gene doesn't, if they have two melanin recessive people coming together, meaning the gene is stabilized at recessiveness. You got to research what I'm saying, because there's a process of receding and then there's a stability of recessiveness. There's a process of dominating and then there's a stability of dominance. What does this mean? If you have two melanin dominant people having children, unless there's a mutation in the melanin itself, okay, or the genes themselves, where you have an albino or albinism, right, that comes about, those children will go on to be melanin dominant for all the rest of the generations until someone else is introduced into that bloodline, as they call it, and then that gene starts to recede or have to dance for or fight for dominance again. You with me? It's the same thing with Caucasians. If two Caucasians come together, they're not going to destabilize. They're not going to return to Neanderthal. You understand? They're going to stabilize there until someone or something comes in and it introduces a new gene. You with me? And that new gene is a dominating gene. So then they start to produce whatever in that bloodline, they produce more melanin dominant features, and the genetics carry on that way. The point is, you're not asexual. Not right now. If there would have been a time where parthenogenesis was a part of the species that we're in, was a part of our way of life and our reproduction, then that could have existed. But right now, it takes two of you. You with me? So again, if the Europeans or these animal people, all right, or these animals are able to reproduce with these human beings, someone has to explain to me scientifically how that's possible without common ancestry. So there is a common ancestry. Not only is there common ancestry, there's common chemistry. Not only is there common chemistry, there's common biology. Not only is there common biology, there's common neurology and neuroscience. All right. Human beings are classified in that animal kingdom altogether. You have to show me otherwise. Don't talk about it. You have to show me otherwise. Right? Both Caucasoids and Negroids have brains. Both Caucasoids and Negroids have carbon in their being. Both Caucasoids and Negroids have nervous systems. Both Caucasoids and Negroids can reproduce with one another, love one another, raise children. Interracial is not just something that's happening in class systems or society. It happens in nature. That's why I wrote in a hidden hand scroll that you may have prejudice against people, but nature doesn't have prejudice against another, so much so that if you were left here and there was only a Caucasian woman and a Negroid man to keep humanity going, that Caucasian woman and Negroid man, so long as they're fertile, if they're fertile, they'll be able to keep the species going. So nature doesn't show prejudice to the point of extinction. The only prejudice happens in the minds of the people, depending on whatever it is that they're experiencing. And sometimes it could be fear. Sometimes it could be fear of inferiority. It could be an inferiority complex. It could be a superiority complex. But nature doesn't agree with you. Another thing, people say, why can't they take the sun? Why can't you take your eyes off of one corner of the internet? There are people who are living in the Caribbean, people live in Jamaica, people live in Africa who are Caucasoid, walking around with shorts on, no sunscreen. They grew up in the sun. They can take the sun. The they can't take the sun thing is an old teaching. All right. And it was a teaching that was a part of going to war with Caucasians who were trying to push an inferiority complex and maintain an inferiority complex on especially those who are in the Western Hemisphere. We're not in those days and time anymore. All right. And especially anybody who want to check out what I'm saying, go check it out. There are Caucasians in Atlanta right now who you'll walk outside. You'll see them out there. They T-shirt on, they shorts, and they walking in a hot sun. And you'll look over to your right and you see a melanin dominant person standing in the shadows. There are melanin dominant people who can't take the sun. Literally, they'll pass out. So this whole they can't take the sun thing, first of all, is not a scientific statement. I don't know what you mean by they can't take the sun. The sun ain't went nowhere and they haven't either. So somebody lying. You understand? And they are in hot environments. They're all over the planet. Okay. Now, there may be certain degrees of variation where you have melanoma and all these other things that can form, or skin peeling and skin cancer that can form with certain people, but not everybody experiences that. You go to the beach, you don't just see melanin dominant people. Matter of fact, you see them rad dudes and surfers and gnarly niggas. They be out there just like how y'all be out there. They be out there longer than you. They be out there getting a tan, and a tan ain't nothing but what? The strengthening of the melanin. So explain to me how Caucasians can get a tan and they don't have melanin. Tell me how Caucasians can develop a tan and they don't have carbon. No, Caucasians have carbon. Caucasians have melanin. There are different degrees of melanin. And the pigment will only be able to be strengthened to a certain degree, no matter how long they stay out in the sun, because that's just the phenotypical response to the sun. Then you have the genotypical, which it doesn't go that deep. If it does go that deep, you start dealing with microwavable effects. So it's not this reality isn't even programmed that a Caucasian can stand out in the sun and are un-Caucasian themselves. However, they can strengthen their pigment. And if that takes place where they have the gene, some of them don't have that. Some Caucasians stand out in the sun and they turn red or pink. And they, like you say, they can't take the sun. They don't have tolerance. However, there are many who have tolerance and their pigment strengthens. When that happens, it's not just strengthening the pigment, it's strengthening their tolerance to the sun. So I know it might be a great thing to be talking about, like in the 1960s and 70s, how white people can't be in the sun. We're not in that time period. You have to look at it truthfully now. It's not a situation of race who can stand in the sun. It's a situation of tolerance. And there are plenty so-called black people who cannot tolerate that sun. And I'm telling you, watch what I'm saying. As that sun gets hotter toward the solstice of this year, and even after into August, you're going to see a lot of people who are black, melanin dominant, Moorish, whatever you want to call them. And they're going to be complaining about that sun because they can't tolerate it. So no, the sun is not only interacting with your skin. Okay. The sun is interacting with your whole being when it reaches you. All right. So yeah, I hear you. No, they can't take the sun is not a scientifically supported statement. It's not rooted in science. All right. It's a racially charged statement, and it had its purposes. The same reason why people say the black man is God. Yeah, that had its purposes. We don't disrespect the purposes that it existed for, statements like that, or they existed for. In this day and time, no, the black man is not God. In this day and time, whoever God is who has the power and the ability to maintain that power. And then there are different degrees of what you say a God is. You understand what I'm explaining to you? So you have to know where you at and why certain words were being used. You with me? So there is no carbonated being. I told y'all that. I taught y'all that. I showed you that over and over again. If we need to, I'll go downstairs and we'll pull up do we need to do that? We can pull up the computer. And I like to be able to show y'all in real time what I'm saying. Matter of fact, that's what I think I'll do. All right, we'll go down there. We'll go into the lab. Go to my beach. And we'll deal with it that way. I like showing people stuff. Y'all gotta pay attention. I'm carrying a jug of water with my chin. Hold on. Hold on, you be chatting to me. Yeah, we involved from anime. White people is after anime. Explain to me, you got all this soul. Why the fuck you talk from your nasal? Because the beings who got soul, we talk from our chest on up. We speak from our diaphragm on up. You know what I mean? I told you, you know what I mean? This is my natural tone right here. I'm letting it just flow how it talks. This is my natural tone. We speak from our diaphragm. So who talk like this? You sound like the European you trying to put down. You see how crazy it is these days? These niggas sound European. They want to dress European. They want to act European. They want to have European money. They want to be a part of the European caste system. You with me? They want to do European things like universities, and they got European name. Your name is Marshall. So, you know what I mean? It can't be that bad. You're speaking a European, well, not necessarily European, but you're speaking what the Europeans speak. The language, English. You're Anglo-Saxon. You're speaking an Anglo-Saxon language. Just relax, family. It's going to be okay. All right. So I'm going to show y'all this real quick. Let's get into it. So if I wasn't paying attention, if y'all just got in here, those of y'all who were in the comment section of this particular video, if you want to come up and have a conversation with me. Yeah, you said niggas need some type of paper. That statement within itself, I could literally like destroy. I could tear that whole statement apart word for word. Niggas, like I know y'all be thinking y'all talking, but like you ain't really talking how you think you talking until I respond, right? And then I'll show you what you're saying. Niggas need some type of paper. Is that it? Okay, so real quick, is that a true statement or is that a statement that you use in an exaggerative manner? Are you exaggerating or are you being for real? So let's answer this question realistically before I get into it. Is that a real statement or is it a fake statement? It's exaggerated. Do human beings need, let's say human beings, we don't got to go into niggas. Do human beings need paper to survive? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I mean, y'all said y'all want to be woke, right? You want to be woke. Everybody think they woke till they talk to me, right? Okay. So, I had to wipe my screen off real quick. Long overdue. All right. So, do human beings need paper to survive? You said you don't need it, but how in this time? How about y'all work together as a community, grow your food, right? If anything, how about y'all buy land? You say it take paper, it won't take perpetual paper. Y'all buy y'all land if y'all need to do that. If not, how about one person take control over certain parts of the community where y'all grow food, y'all barter, and y'all trade with one another? You don't need paper to survive. Well, y'all don't want to do that. If enough of y'all come together, if this were the case, enough of you come together, Paper wouldn't be necessary. It would just be skill necessary, knowledge necessary of how to live off the land. No, the day that you were born, your parents signed you over to a corporation, a business, and said that you were incompetent. So that's why you think you need paper. That's why you got to keep going to them and asking them if they can give you permission to survive. That's what your money is, permission to survive. And you're asking people for permission to survive with all of it. Listen, look over there. What you see? Vegetation. Look at all that vegetation out there. And yet people will be in the woods and starve to death. Right? You got so much talent, so many people that have the ability to do this, that, and the third in the communities, and y'all won't put it together. Y'all are trying to be individuals. They also trained you to do that. So you're trying to be individuals alone. You're not functioning as a community. So a barter and trade system may sound so crazy right now, but there's people over in Africa that, for one, or Nigeria, their money gets them so much more, and they still work together. They still work together. So no, it's an illusion. I know plenty. There's a man who got up one day and said, I'm gone, and just went on the road, and people took care of him, and people are still taking care of him. Right? He don't pay for anything. Everybody looks out for him. He go to different people's house, they feed him. You know what I mean? He might stay with them for a while. There are plenty of people who are living life, enjoying it, and not worried about money. This is a part of your illusion or reality, if you want to call it that. But it doesn't apply to everybody. You with me? So I hear you. But nah, and that was, again, you made a statement thinking that I was attacking, money. I'm not attacking money. What I'm doing is saying that these people want, you don't hear me coming out here talking about Europeans this, Europeans that. Do y'all? All the videos I make, do I be sitting out here, because the melanin, and you got, right, the Europeans, and the Europeans do this, and the Yakub did that, and he's petri dish, and the other person had an apple tree dish, so he made gorillas, and we got come from so we condense sunlight. We condense sunlight, and do I just sit there and race talk all day? Or do I speak about more important things? Severely more important, which is what we can do with the sciences we have. You understand that? Okay. Nah, I ain't watched Sinners on that. What I had watched? Probably Bruce Almighty. All right. What I was about to go to. Okay. We already went over carbon. So let's go back to what bro was talking about. We got to establish the bullshit and then respond to the bullshit. So here the bullshit is. Carbonated beings, so-called black people, have zero animal DNA. All right, so let's deal with carbonated beings. Let's just ask a simple question, because we will have to study carbon all over again. I know we don't have time to do that, right? Do all humans have carbon in them? Let's say in them. I know they got AI now because they're trying to compete with ChatGPT. So it should give us a straight answer. Hold on. Turn this on. I'll turn this on. Where did that did? Oh, there you go. All right. Yes, all humans have carbon in them. Okay? And carbon is a fundamental building block of life. It makes up a significant portion of the dry weight. This is the important part. Not only are we saying all humans have carbon in them, we are also saying what? That all living organisms have carbon in them. So if we're talking about carbonated beings, guess who else are carbonated beings? Guess what else? Animals. Let's look at it. Do animals have carbon in them? Yes. Let's look at it. Yes. Animals contain carbon. Carbon is a fundamental element of all living things, including animals, and is the building block of essential molecules like DNA, proteins, and fat. So if any of these Google scientists, right, or these Google gurus And I'm only pulling it up on Google because I grew up, we had the books, chemistry, mathematics. We studied this stuff. And then when you go through school, you study it in school. So again, I don't understand. If you're going to teach a new science, teach new terminology, tell us how it's new and how it don't come from these people. But you're using their words, so then you must know what their words mean and how they apply. All right? So all animals have carbon. Do we got that? So what is this separation between carbonated beings and animals? I'm going to tell you what it is. It's delusion. It doesn't exist. Every living being has carbon. One more time. Every living being has carbon. So then ask Marshall, okay, or young Pharaoh, because I told you one day he'll probably get older. But he's young Pharaoh right now until further notice. Ask young Pharaoh, what the fuck, okay, what's a carbonated being? What is a carbonated being? You mean everything that's a living? Every living being? So first of all, that first statement is trash. All right. And then he talked about neuromelanin. I'm telling y'all, it's just one person after the next. You start seeing how they don't know what they're talking about. All I have to do is just show you. So that was him. He was also saying that black people have neuromelanin because black people have neuromelanin. And what is melanin? Condensed sunlight. Okay, we're going to deal with it, right? Y'all know that nigga be getting excited in the middle of his sentences. And because we have neuromelanin, so what is melanin? Condensed sunlight. Okay, we're going to deal with it then. We're going to deal with condensed sunlight. All right, so let's get neuro definition real quick. All right, relating to nerves or the nervous system. All right, real quick, don't lie. Do animals have a nervous system? Because remember, we're dealing with the delusion of a separation between human beings and animals when it comes to these things, because they're trying to say melanin dominant people are human beings and then Caucasoids are animals, right? All right. So do the Caucasoids or Caucasians have a nervous system? Let's look it up. Do white, we're going to keep it simple. Do white people have a nervous? Look, the motherfucking search engine don't even know what the hell I'm doing no more. It's just looking at me like, they're like, bro, I don't know where you going. Ain't no way you finna ask me this stupid ass shit. Well, I'm about to ask you this stupid ass shit because they talking about this stupid ass shit. Yes, white people, like all humans, have a nervous system. Okay. You think I'm finding a way to loop it? Run then. Leave right now. I promise you. I'll give you, here go your, listen. What's the name? Lean of the spirit. Just leave. Just leave, family. I'm trying to tell you right now. Say yourself. Just leave. Just leave. Just leave. Yes, white people, like all humans, look at what they say, have a nervous system. Okay, so we got neuro. All right, we got to deal with neuro. All right, neuro is relating to nerves or the nervous system. So we already realized that we have brains, they got brains, right? All right, let's deal with it. Let's add this word melanin here just for fun. Okay? Neuromelanin. Neuromelanin is a dark brown pigment found in the brain, particularly in areas producing catecholamines or catecholamines like dopamine and norepinephrine. Okay, so dark brown pigment found in the brain. Let's ask, do white people have neuromelanin? Do white people? Do white people have neuromelanin? Yes. Everyone, including people with fair skin, has neuromelanin in their brains. All right, so, okay, so what the fuck? This nigga said, we got neuromelanin. Okay, so if we got neuromelanin, they do too. I don't understand what's your point there. All right, so again, we shut down that carbonate. Let's look at the, we got to go back to the bullshit again. Let's look at it. Let me see if we can flip it. Just flip it around. We got to go back to the bullshit. And then we got to dissect the bullshit. So here go the bullshit. Carbonated beings. What did we learn, class? That's every motherfucking body. That's everybody. That's why you see that right there. RASHAD JAMAL, Nature Boy, and Young Pharaoh have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. They have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. Only in the conscious spiritual community do they seem like scientists and creators of the cosmos and Tahuti and shit. They don't know what they're talking about. Carbonated beings is everybody. If you want to refute that, you can't use carbon. If you want to refute that, you can't use neuromelanin. If you want to refute that, you can't use the words that these scientists use who studied this shit for decades or their whole life and died and passed it on to somebody else. And they've been doing that for 5, 6 generations in their family. And you got on TikTok 3 videos ago and now you the damn chemistry major. No, 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 no. You can't use their words and then try to teach science away from them unless you've gone through the specific procedures necessary and experiments being conducted necessary to provide some type of irrefutable evidence that can say, okay, we know that this person is telling the truth because he's done this, that, and the third, and he's tested this and took samples of this and blended it in and figured it out, and now we have it. This person knows what he's talking about. So no, neuromelanin is not something that is reserved for black people or melanin dominant people. All right, what else? So we got the carbonated beings thing out the way. The neuromelanin shit he was talking about out the way. That's fake. The so-called black people, we don't got to go into that because he did put the state, whoever made the little thing, put so-called black people. So they're at least familiar with what identity politics is and how it actually has nothing to do with science in real life. All right, then we have zero animal DNA. That is not true. All right, let's deal with it. Are humans in the animal kingdom? Humans, let's deal with it. Humans belong to the animal kingdom. So we cannot just separate humans and animals. They are similar. They're a part of the same kingdom, which includes small organisms like insects and larger organisms like humans and monkeys. From genes to morphology to behavior, humans and monkeys are similar in many ways because they share an evolutionary past. Again, I'm not the one making evolutionary claims. It's Marshall and them making evolutionary claims. To say that white folks, quote unquote, did not come from us is to say there has been an evolution of some sort. To say white people evolved from Neanderthals is to say there has been an evolution to some degree. I don't believe in evolution. What I'm saying to you is these people who are teaching and talking about evolution seem to have absolutely no idea what evolution is and how it works. Ancestrally, geologically, geographically, they don't seem to understand it. So my thing is to show you how much they don't understand about it so you can stop listening to them. Okay. Are humans in the order of primates? Humans are members of a particular subgroup of mammals known as the primates or order primates. Humans are primates. All right? Primates. You share that with many bipedal beings. Okay, bipedalism is one of the ways you can tell with human beings and animals like the monkeys, right, that there's some ancestry there, at least in evolution and how they set it up in taxonomy. Okay, so we already went over carbon. We already went over neuromelanin. And now we're talking about animal DNA. All right, so here's the question. Do human beings altogether possess animal DNA? Now let's look into it. Do humans, and we might have to answer it another way, but I'm going to still pose it this way the first time, have animal DNA? Yes. Humans share significant portions of their DNA with various animals. This is due to a shared evolutionary history where humans and other species have branched off from common ancestors over millions of years. I think it's very important to pay attention to three main things. The first main thing is evolutionary history, which is what these people are trying to talk about. Evolutionary history. And then another thing to pay attention to is this millions of years thing. And another thing to pay attention to is the word species. All right? And I'm going to do my best to get into all of those. So first of all, anybody in here familiar with Homo erectus? You have Homo erectus. You have Homo sapien. Y'all should be familiar with all of those, right? Okay. Ask. I'm about to do what Pops used to do. Ask the Marshallians or the Jamalians or the Natureborians. Ask them what a Homo erectus is. Ask them what a Homo sapien is. And when you ask these people that, make sure you add in the question of, are they noted as an ancestor of human beings? Not even just the animal side. Talk to them from human because they're saying human. So do human beings have an ancestor or ancestors who are called Homo erectus or Homo sapiens? So let's look that up. Do humans have Homo erectus ancestry? Yes. I mean, it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. So I ain't missed yet. Let's see. Yes. Homo erectus is considered a likely ancestor of modern humans. We ain't even talking about animals right now. So what are they talking about? They look like Tyrone and them. I don't even know what nobody say. Y'all know, they look like, what a nigga name from Sinners. If you tell, listen, if you tell me this ain't cornbread from Sinners, well, you gonna let me in? This cornbread from Sinners, stop fucking playing with me. You gonna tell me if a nigga walk past you like this, you one or two things gonna happen. You gonna either roast his ass or you gonna choose to be like, wait a minute, that's a Homo erectus. Yo, silly Billy ass ain't finna say no such thing as deformer. You gonna be like, look at that bald head ass nigga. Look at that cornbread ass nigga. He gonna turn around like, that's how you gonna know. The nigga with ooga booga in. That was part of their language. That ain't much different than who you refer to as Neanderthals. Them niggas look normal. They say Neanderthal used to have big ass forehead. Shit, I'm Neanderthal then. I got a big ass forehead. You know what I mean? Neanderthal stood up right. They used to make fires and shit. They used to cook food. Shit, that happened every damn where. Them white folks be doing that. We be doing that. What is this delusion? Look, there go. That's, what's his name? This is Charles or Charlie and then Tyrone or Cornbread. Like, it's not hard to see that these are humans. You feel what I'm saying? So that's what I'm telling you. You say, look, oh, you got that monkey blood. They don't know what they talking about. I promise you, I'll give each of y'all 3 minutes. All you're going to resort to is ad hominem. All you're going to be able to resort to is attack the person, call me dumb, say I'm not tapped in. I'll give you 3 minutes with me. 3 minutes. 3 minutes, that's it. I'll have somebody put it on the stopwatch. And you're going to be sitting up here squirming, trying to talk about monkey blood like you understand RH. You're going to be trying to, I promise you're going to be trying. And you're going to be, Okay, so we just found Cornbread. That's how they got the character out of Sinners. We just found him. That nigga look like everybody. Everybody uncle. Everybody favorite actors. They right there. So we already understood that. Okay? So now, do humans have Homo erectus ancestry? Yes. Are we going to do it? Well, we can change it. We don't have to. I think it's still, well, for me, it's obvious. But we're going to do it just for the sake of this call or this live. Yes. All modern humans belong to the species Homo sapiens. We are the direct evolutionary descendants of Homo sapiens, the last surviving human species. While we share ancestry with other extinct hominins like Neanderthals and Denisovans, modern humans are what you call Homo sapiens. So again, to me it's obvious, but we had to go over that. All right? So you have Homo sapien, Homo erectus. Remember all the people who be on here talking about some, and then we got Lucy. Lucy was black. Lucy was one of us. I know you can't be talking about Lucy. I know you can't be talking about Lucy and then trying to say that there were people who were Neanderthals at one point in time that the Caucasians come from. I know you can't be talking about Lucy and forgetting how ancestry works with this taxonomy shit. All right? So you have Afarensis, okay? Afarensis, you have Africanus, all right? We got to find Lucy and all of that, so I'm going to show you something. Okay, we're going to do Austro. Yeah, I spelled that shit. Austro. Yep. Look, there go Lucy. All right, look. Lucy is not considered the first human. Lucy, a member of the species Australopithecus. Australopithecus afarensis was a significant discovery, but more ancient hominin species have been found since her discovery in what? It's a big year, 1974, making her not the oldest known member of the human family. But there go Lucy. There go Lucy. Now, you gonna tell me they don't look like some shit you done scroll past, this little selfie? Look, they looking right at you like, these motherfuckers stupid. We just don't talk their language. We know what's going on, though. Motherfucker walking around, regular. You know what I mean? And you gonna tell me that these people... Now, again, I get where it's coming from. Trust me, I do understand. Because there are different variations of how genes have evolved over time. And depending upon what story you're speaking about, beings like this would have had interactions with people who were referred to as Anunnaki, all right, according to certain stories. And the Anunnaki had people like Mother Nenti or Titi. Titi worked on certain projects where they became mother of the rib. Titi is who like referred to as Eve. I'm gonna tell you something interesting about Titi. When you're saying the word titty, you're actually saying TT. And to say the word T is to say the word breast. But why would it be that? Well, I'm going to show you how your realm operates. When you say T and T, you're saying two breasts. Or why was it said that human beings or hominids or humanoids, why was it said that humanoids had two breasts? Because at one point in time, when human beings gave birth, all right, the women, the humanoids gave birth, and this is supposed to be what happened around 6,000 years ago up to now, okay, or 4,000 BC up to now. When they gave birth to twins. So one of the twins would be on one breast and the other twin, it was able to nurse both of them at the same time. Okay, again, this was dealing with the superhuman. All right, at that point in time, the Superman, the one who had the mammary glands active. All right, and then you have the de-evolved superhuman who became the man. And that man was incomplete in its essence of being able to nurture. All right, so the human woman, okay, or the humanoid woman became the one who still had to nurse. So that's how men to this day have, according to certain, again, according to certain story, men have nipples, but they're not able to nurse or nurture in that regard, which means that mammary glands don't function, which means that there are certain defects naturally that occur when you go from being a fetus, all right, and certain genitalia either evolve or don't evolve. All right. So you actually, if you become an XY chromosome, because everyone starts off as XX scientifically. All right. But when you're in that process of cultivation in the womb, all right, and that egg is yielding life or Eve, if something occurs genetically where you lose a piece of that chromosome or a certain percentage of that chromosome, you become broken X chromosome, as they call it, which is XY. You yield a man. But it's called broken X for a reason. Because that man not only is unable or incapable of nurturing babies and producing new life on its own if that gene were to evolve into someone who possessed parthenogenetic capabilities, they also don't carry the mtDNA, all right, or the mitochondria DNA, the mass mitochondria DNA that allows for all of that genetic information to be passed on mother to daughter, mother to daughter, mother to daughter, mother to daughter in a recurrent process. So my point is here, you had Titi, which you would call Eve or Ninti. Why would I say that? If you look up the African meaning of the word T-I, okay, you have life, all right, or living. And if you look up the word Eve, you also get life or living. So this is why they refer to certain ancestors of the human beings, all right, that fell into this category. They call it a mitochondrial Eve. All right. Mitochondrial Eve refers to the hypothetical female ancestor from whom all living humans are descended through the maternal line. You see? And look how they made it look. All right. Which is the only way it could have happened. When people say they didn't come from us, it doesn't make sense. Because for one, there are genes that splice and mutate, all right, to cause for pheomelanin from melanin. You with me? So in order for that to take place, certain receptors have to either function a certain way or function another way. And it goes from this to an albino, and from an albino, depending on who they mix with, into a Caucasoid, all right, or into a biracial, or someone who still possesses the albino, all right, but if the albino mixes with a Caucasian, then that melanin dance or competition is hard for the melanin dominant gene to reign supreme. You understand? And all of that's heredity. So this would have been, if that's telling the truth, one of the common ancestors of every damn body. And they said these people were in like Africa, you understand? And again, certain, depending on what story, some people say America. All right. But the common theme is this Eve was found in Africa. All right. And my thing to tell people is, this is their science. If you're going to speak their science and tell their stories, and speak on their stories like the biblical stories, then at least know what you're talking about. Because then there's other stories that say way before 6,000 years ago, there were whole other groups of beings on the planet. All right, you had the Giborians or the Gibor. All right, so there's certain Gibor who you call the mighty ones, right? The ones who like the giants, not necessarily the Nephil or the Nephilim, all right, but they were the giant, bigger people, taller people, all right? And they were some barbaric and few of them less barbaric. All right. But they were the ones who you refer to as like they came and they saw certain beings like this. All right. Or similar to these types of beings. And they went to either rape them or take them as their own, or they tried to help them. The same way you have certain stories like Enki and Enlil. All right. Enki and Enlil were groups of beings who Enki was more of a group of beings who they tried to help human beings evolve. And they wanted to be a part of the solution. Enlil didn't give a damn, similar to the story of the Lemurians and the Atlanteans, where there was a group, the Atlanteans, who they were like, yo, we're technologically advanced. We're further along than them. Okay, let's just reign supreme over them and let's enslave these people. And then the Lemurians and their leaders were like, yo, no, we want people that, first of all, not suffer slavery. Second of all, find their own way in their evolutionary process to become more technologized and more biologically advanced and all of that. So there was a war. They call it a thermonuclear war. It took place about 12,000. They said anywhere between 12.5 thousand to 25,000 years ago. All right, that's where Atlantis was destroyed. The Bermuda Triangle took place because of the type of weapons that were there. The pyramid was sank and all kind of stuff. All right, so again, there were certain stories, Enki and Enlil, where some try to help somebody. So again, that ties you to the Giborians, all right, or the Gibor people. All right. Now, if you're in the field and you see Gibor there, listen to this key because you understand, especially when I drop the album. All right. This means that you're in Babylon. All right. And you have to learn how to live again or love again. You with me? That means you have been sucked into the Nephilim world. And the Nephilim is, what does it mean? When people say Nephilim, they think it means giant. All right. I'm going to show you something. When you say the word Nephil, is right there in the word, phonetically even. Nephil means to fall. All right. To fall. So if the Nephilim are the fallen ones, all right, there are multiple different ways to look at it. Either the ones who were originally said to have descended onto or into or down to come down into the earth plane. or those who were of a high status and lost their high status. Either way it goes. So, because not just because you descended, all right, does it mean that you were evil or nefarious? And not just because you lost your seat does it mean that you did something wrong to lose your seat. You could have been dethroned. You with me? So a lot of the Nephil were the ones who were cast into the earth plane according to certain stories. And they were cast into the earth plane for different reasons, or they came on their own accord. And when they came here, they encountered beings like the mitochondrial Eve, or the original women of or the primordial women, the prime order of women who were here, and they weren't bothered until these demonic or aggressive beings came. You with me? Now you have to ask this question. How would it be possible that the Giborians or the Nephilim would be able to reproduce, or the giants would be able to reproduce with the women who were here, if even those giants were not reproductively compatible with them? You see what I'm explaining to you? So there seems to be such a common ancestry that even extraterrestrial beings who come here are able to mix with women or mix with men and still reproduce life. So that common ancestry could go as far as being off planet. You understand that? So you're gonna have to explain to me, if you're saying that the Caucasoids came from monkeys alone, all right, then you're gonna have to explain to me how these beings were here, all right, after what you call the monkeys were here. You're going to have to explain to me the stories that these people come in and cite and say that there were Anunnaki, all right, who interacted with these human beings, put some of them under arrest and spliced them and caused for them to be able to, because you had the story of Adam and Lilith that a lot of people may not be familiar with. But Adam and Lilith was supposed to be the one who was his first wife, right? But then she was cast out. You with me? And then Adam was put in a deep sleep and spliced genetically to reproduce his own Eve. But that doesn't mean that Eve was the first woman, because according to certain stories, she wasn't. You with me? However, all of this would have taken place when human beings were introduced into that part of the story 6,000 years ago. But is 6,000 years ago far enough to even get here? You with me? They telling you biblical stories of 6,000 years ago, then they talk about 200,000 years ago. So if you know how evolution works, you can have evolution in the progressive manner, or you can have evolution in a regressive manner. So ask yourself this question, not saying you're going to know the answer right now. How many times have human beings evolved and de-evolved? What Dr. Malachi York spoke about in the Holy Tablets was human beings are running the risk right now of regressing to Homo erectus. We walk like animals. We talk like animals. The lingo that they're giving us is fucking our brain up. Because when you learn a certain language, it was taught that not only the neuroplasticity, like I taught y'all, was activated, there's also things that will happen in your being that can lead to physical changes and alterations. You with me? So they have us sagging our pants, all right, which means that certain things are being registered genetically that could affect how our children are born. Our children can have lower waists just based off of how we was raised to sag our pants. This is truth. Go look it up. All right? We talk with a lingo that our children inherit. So I'm like, this nigga don't know like that's all he sound like. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't have to sound like that. And if they chose to change their tone or even how they speak the language they're speaking, and they spoke more correct English, guess who they will wind up being closer to? The supreme beings. Why so? Well, this is something else that was said that Dr. Malachi York was teaching, right? So again, if these people were able to listen and pay attention to the center, they'll find more things to talk about that make more sense. I'm telling you, for the past 20, 30 minutes I've been on here talking, some of y'all like, this shit make way more sense than anything these niggas have ever said. In the past 20 years, they've been acting like they the master teachers. Okay? So you have different tonalities, clearly, right? That's with singing, that's with everything. Different timbres of voice. All right, different styles, different all of that. There, again, like I was telling you, you got people like Young Pharaoh, they talk up here. And you talk, why the fuck did you talk all the way up here? But they really do talk up there. And Bobby Emmett, that's the way about it. A lot of people who talk about the soul and all that, they don't have no voice that come from right here. This is diaphragm voice, right? Is where you can speak and visit here, right? Literally, you can visit here if you need to, or you visit up here if you need to, or you can come up here. But most people can't even come right back here to the sense of what a home is. Why? Well, there's a lot of reasons for that. For one, they've been conditioned. You can tell who niggas grew up around based off of the tonality of their voice. If you put somebody with a deep voice in their genes, meaning genetically they're programmed to yield certain protrusions on the larynx, they're programmed to yield certain ways their voice boxes are going to form. All right. And that voice box forming that way will say a lot about that person's position in whatever the society is naturally at that point in time, which is why a lot of the deeper voice people go on to make things happen and people fear them and they become these powerful rulers. They're genetically based on natural nature, as it's called, Dr. Melakazior. They're genetically programmed to become those people. And then you have others who their wit may be closer to develop as women in their tone. So I'm not, again, you can have a higher voice. All right. Also, you can have a correct English voice, as they call it. And that leads you to be closer to the sisters or the women. So don't think it's just a Joan, because some people may have higher voices, and that's not a negative thing, because that higher voice may be in tune with the women. And if it's in tune with the women, it may also cause for them to speak correct English. And when you're speaking a language and you're speaking it correctly, something else happens in the brain, as opposed to the ones who receive the language and is broken down. They call it broken English, literally. All right. Or ebonics, all these other stuff they gave us. All right. Which were curse words that were stopping people from seeing the importance of being able to speak what they call correct English. Because how are you going to ascend linguistically if you can't even speak the language you're speaking correctly? All right. Then you get into all these other dialects and tones and tongues where you do need to be able to speak them correctly and able to in order to understand not only what is being expressed through the words, but what will resonate genetically when you speak the tone properly. You understand what I'm explaining to you? So again, you have deep voices, you have lighter voices. Some males have lighter voices, some males have deeper voices. Some women have lighter voices, some women have deeper voices. A lot of times it's dependent upon whether or not there's a lot more masculine present in that being or feminine present in that being, which is why I explained to y'all, masculine and feminine doesn't mean gender. Okay, same thing when it comes to describing certain beings like Allah. All right, it doesn't mean a man as in gender. Okay, they were just talking about a masculine force, and they look at masculine different than regularly people would. Are you with me? So these people observe in different ways what their voices would be able to be used for. And being able to speak to a group of women with a deep voice will have a different impact on that women and what moves on from that point in time than the one who comes in speaking like this. So they may be relating to you like you one of their friends if you come in like this. And that could be a good thing, or it could be a bad thing. Okay, or it could be a favorable thing or a non-favorable thing, depending on who you are, what the situation is, or position at the time. I don't want to go too far off the point. The main point here is human beings essentially not only have evolved differently. You're paying attention to evolution now, where there was a point in time where most men had deeper voices. Women, y'all know this to be true. A lot of men now don't have that deep voice anymore. It's gone. It's all up here. And these became the ones who, they teach like this, right? And again, there's positives and there's negatives of all of that. But now you have, a lot of us are smaller. A lot of us are shorter. A lot of our feet are little. I mean, we can't fight for nothing. Our fists don't ball up right. There's de-evolution taking place now where human beings are becoming not only just Homo erectus again, they're becoming the weaker, like a subset of Homo erectus, Homo sapien. You understand? So we were warned about that certain things we eat, certain ways we live were causing us to regress. And is it not evident that even consciously people are coming out here saying, I'm a gorilla, I'm an animal. And then you have this thing out here, 100 men versus one gorilla. And all of them are talking about fighting it. All of them, look how it's not much different than the barbarians that they're trying to separate themselves from. Everybody's talking about fighting the gorilla. Why? Because no one can communicate with the gorilla. They can't communicate with one another, and they speak the same language. The resolve for solving issues with men in a community or in the world where they speak the same language or the same tones or come from the same places is to fight one another, beat each other up, go back to barbaric tactics, pick up a slug, hit each other on it, or shoot a slug, send a slug, and shoot each other. All right, they go back to barbaric tactics. You see somebody talking to your girl, you don't even talk to the girl. You run up on niggas walking up on a nigga. Nigga don't even know this your girl. And immediately, like, they, if you just take, listen, I promise you, you take some of the, like, take the audio out of the videos of the shit y'all was watching on World Star, all of that, and you replace it with monkey sounds, you're not going to see a difference. So is it really 100 people? Listen, I'll tell you. Here go the science. 100 is complete. It means 9, okay, in ancient Egypt. All right? Is it really the 100 niggas versus the gorilla? Or is it man versus himself? Listen. Is it the 9 or the higher you, your high you, versus your lower you? Because the gorilla wouldn't be nothing but what? Your lower you or your less evolved you. Right? So you're trying to be more beast than the beast. Not even paying attention to the fact that you're saying it's going to take 100 of y'all. How about one of you? Just one of y'all go. And let's see who's more of a beast. And then while you're doing that, we're going to sit here and talk with the gorilla. We're going to walk up. We're going to speak telepathically to these beings. We're going to not pose a threat when we walk past because we're not exuding adrenaline. Because we understand how to control our breathing. You know, it depends on where you're going. Some of y'all are going up the ladder genetically. Some of y'all are going down. I don't like being around a whole bunch of animalistic beings. I like surrounding myself with women. Why? Because they're not beating their chest and ooga booga and having rain. You see when the guys come together, and then you always got that one or two friends who, when the sisters come around, what they want to do? They want to beat their chest. They think listen, we haven't evolved from them, right? We haven't evolved from animals, or we haven't evolved from monkeys. And why niggas turn into monkeys when it comes to competing for sex? Listen to what I said. Don't miss it one more time. We haven't evolved from monkeys, right? We have no common ancestry with them. Then why do men turn into monkeys and gorillas when it comes to competition for sex? Them gorillas will kill one another about sex. Let's replace the word gorillas with niggas. These niggas will kill one another when it comes to just sex. Most of the time, they're not even doing it for natural reasons. You with me? So who's less evolved? Think about it. The men will kill one another over a female or a woman so they can have sex with the female. And then they're not even thinking of all the consequences because guess what? There are other gorillas in the jungle. There are other gorillas out here who will come and attack or lock up the one who killed the other gorilla. So now that gorilla is dead. The other gorilla is locked up. And guess what the galrilla, what the galrilla, don't take my shit. Guess what the galrilla is doing? She's out there strutting again. He's like, damn, these two people just fell for you. These two gorillas just went down for you. She's strutting. I don't got nothing to do with that. I don't got nothing to do with that. Somebody come get this. Somebody come get. And there's two more gorillas finna throw. They like, you understand that? I'm the smart gorilla. I'm gonna let them two, and then when they crash out and disappear, then I walk up. Y'all ain't understanding what I'm trying to explain to you because I'm joking, but I'm not. Right? So they're not even doing it for reproductive reasons. They just want to have sex. These gorillas are stupid. Because they'll kill the nigga, and let's say they escape. Then they'll have sex, right? And then get what happens? The gorilla get pregnant, and these gorillas run. Oh, no. Oh, no. And they run off. And the guy was like, what the fuck? That's not even natural. You have to at least be here. You understand? They don't want to get it. These gorillas walk around with condoms on their back because they don't got pockets. Or in their hand. Just, they can't even put the shit on. They try to. You understand how I explained it to you? It's not, this is, okay. So someone's regressing. The gorillas seem to get smarter. Niggas seem to get dumber with time. And that's what the warning was, that there's a regression taking place. So instead of jumping to go back to guerrilla tactics, use your brain. That's why you see me, I did a little video, I'm helping the gorilla. Because if it's come to this, here go natural selection. We're ready. The gorillas ain't bothering nobody. Human beings make it their point to go to the gorilla's habitat, kidnap the gorilla, bring it over here so we could look at the gorilla. And people call it a zoo. No, it's a reservation for other living beings. It's a prison for other living beings. For you to take your leg, you don't want to go out there to the safari. You know what I mean? You don't want to go out there to Sub-Sahara. You don't want to go out there in England and look at that. You just want everybody to come to you. So then you wonder why the gorilla, you'll walk up on a gorilla, you take a picture, motherfucker, slap the glass. You wonder why they say, oh, look, he's just looking at us. All he's saying is, boy, you lucky. You lucky. You with me? You wonder why motherfuckers they go to the zoo? They say, oh, oops, and they fall in the tiger. It don't matter. The tiger done ate 5-year-olds, all kind of shit. Don't give a damn. They mad. That wasn't no happy tiger. Oh, where is your mother, young man? Let's help you get back up there. He didn't grab the back of his shirt and toss him up there, and everybody clapped, and he posed. Soon as that boy head hit near the ground, it was in the tiger mouth. The end. Fuck is you talking about? You see them videos all the time. Nigga done lost their whole arm. Running back. That's why his ass not supposed to be in that cage. He trying to tell you. He didn't mean it. He didn't mean nothing by it. He just trying to tell you this ain't how it's supposed to be. This ain't how it's supposed to be. You see what I'm saying? So, I ain't never been to no zoo. I don't want to go to no zoo. What the fuck? What I'm doing here? Some people gonna be confused. Like, you never been to a zoo? I've never been to a zoo. I've been offered to go. I don't want to go to the zoo because that don't make no sense to me. So I'm supposed to look at it. I would not naturally be able to sit here and look at this lion face to face in this state. This lion sitting there looking at, and y'all wonder why the motherfuckers be like growling and shit. They ready for some shit. They just want the wall to break. I'm not supposed to be there. Then I'm like, what the fuck is this? This is our freezer section. The penguin's like, nigga, help. Put the look, nigga, help, nigga. Help. This ain't even the right temperature. We in this bitch dying. It's 75 degrees. This snow ain't real. Got seals and shit, bro. What the fuck is wrong with y'all? You know what I mean? We just gonna merge climates. No. So my point is, when you look at all of these things scientifically, all right, from the mitochondrial Eve to the Neanderthals, to the Denisovans, to whoever, this seems to have something to do with common ancestry. Now, if these people are going to teach it and use these terms, then they must understand what it is they're speaking about. And then you have these other stories, because someone was on here earlier said we came from Anunnaki. All right. Why? Because you have some stories that say the Anunnaki bred, if you must be talking about your ancestors for one, because you didn't come from Anunnaki. You came from your mother and your father. Let's get it clear. All this, they didn't come from us shit. You're right, because we just got born here. So didn't nobody come from us except the children we're going to reproduce if we do that. All right? So that's true. You walk up to Bill out there talking, y'all didn't come from us. They going to be confused like, you're damn right. Hell, you talking about? My mama name is Suzanne. And my daddy name is Tom. Yo, you're right. We didn't come. Like, okay, they didn't come from us. We didn't come from them. We came from whoever our mother and our father is, and whoever their mother. And people ain't even able to look back far enough. That's why a now-wapian deals with what's going on right now. Because you can try to act like you know, but you don't know. You can look around and see what the fuck that happened and see we don't know shit. Because we said, we're Africans. Yeah, what that say on your shirt? Ralph Lauren. Is that an African? You know what I mean? The closest these people out here got right now that they putting on their body to Lucy is Lululemon. No, we wear Lulu, see, in Lulu. Okay. No, they making fun of y'all. They're calling y'all delusional. That's who Lulu is, the delusional ones. And Lulu is supposed to be those who are guys or gearing up to be guys. All this shit done flipped. You know what I mean? So people out here wearing Lululemon, that's the closest they got to it. You wearing all these Caucasoid brands. You live in Caucasoid style homes. You speak the Caucasoid language. You're not even culturally associated to Africans. So what is this we're Africans thing? Everything that was introduced was to help you clean up what was dirty. From there on, you were supposed to find out the truth. Do I need to repeat it? Everything that was taught was to help you clean up what was dirty. From there on, you were supposed to find out the truth. Now, does it look like people found the truth? Or do they still believe what these people down here talking about? You with me? And look, all the people around him, they think he's saying something true. The name of the channel is Black News. Black News. You got people walking around saying Al-Kibilan. Al-Kibilan is historical? Or did Dr. Ben make it be that y'all start saying that shit? Then it was Dr. Malachi York who explained Africa you're saying divide. You're saying something that is divided, which is what people were told don't do. Right? Interestingly enough, you find certain words that sound familiar. Let's look at it. Let's see, faraka. Faraka. Nope. See, I ain't even say that. Look. I ain't say that. I said faraka. They said, you mean bro? No, I didn't say that. Let's look at the meaning. Faraka means to separate, distinguish, or differentiate, or divide. Separate or distinguish. Differentiate. Let's get the divide. We get a direct divide meaning. Faraka, yep, divide. Split, separate. All right. So even Paul's was explaining that, Malachi was explaining a lot of these words people are using, they don't even know what what they really mean. What's really being said when people are saying, I'm from Faraka or Africa. You with me? Because you say Africa, you're just still with that, that three-part root of Fereke. Faraka. If you put the A here, it'll still be FRK or Q. Divided. And people have been divided. You with me? And split. And they weren't supposed to be divided and split. All right? Not necessarily. Because that was just dealing with their choice or the decision of whether or not they were going to walk with the Lamb. You with me? Well, they've been divided and split away from the truth. That's why a lot of people are still confused now. Does this make sense? Anybody got any questions? Because again, I know I was supposed to let people come up here. But it should be making sense, right? It's not hard to destroy the fallacy. All I got to do is look at what people are saying. So one more time, for the one time. This whole thing, y'all know I'll do it. I'll take whatever people say. We'll look at it piece by piece. And I don't got to do it in secret. I'm going to do it right in front of you. I'm going to see if I can pull this up because it won't move. There you go. All right. So carbonated beings isn't real. So stop saying that. Anybody come to you talking about some we are carbon beings, unless you're just being nice, all right? Please explain to them that every being has carbon. All right? Black people, you know that's not a thing. Animal DNA is in everybody. I showed y'all that. Okay? Everybody has the animal DNA. We're beyond all of the pseudo stuff. We're beyond all of the esoteric stuff. All right? And you don't want to go Sumerian for Sumerian doctrine. You don't want to go any of these doctrines that y'all are trying to teach about the big-headed scientists and any of that. Because that's already been taught and broken down and explained why it needed to be. You with me? So everything in this video is off. 100%. So when I said cap, those of y'all who was in that comment section, that's what I mean. That none of that is rooted in science. Somebody says, who are the oppressors? Okay, let's look up the word oppressor. Let's get rid of it. Only if y'all want to put on the crown now. If you want to stay down beneath and whatever, Y'all can stay down there. That's old illusionary talk. All right, let's deal with oppressor etymology. Let's go etymology. Let's see what happens. Hold on. All right, so oppressor means to what? Etymologically, press down, crush, or subdue. To press down, crush, or subdue, right? Okay. Who are the oppressors? Anybody who presses down, crushes, or subdues. All right, a destroyer, a crusher. Let me ask you a question. Let's say somebody's in their car in a parking lot and they got issues with some people. And the people pull up on them and they got their baby in the car and everything. And these people shoot into the car. They kill the baby. Who were the oppressors in that situation? Let me be more specific and simple spoken. There's a black man got his black daughter in the car. Sound familiar? Black man got his black daughter in the car. Some black men pull up and kill the black man and the black daughter. Black daughter has absolutely nothing to do with whatever the issues are, but they send a statement. Intentionally. Right? All right, boom. Who are the oppressors in that situation? I don't want to hear about their circumstances. I don't want to hear about it was hard for them growing up, but they got an F on their paper. I want to know who are the oppressors in that particular situation. The oppressors in that particular situation are the ones who pulled up and shot the baby and the man. And I promise you that the family of the baby don't want to hear shit about the white man. They don't want to hear nothing about the white man. Wasn't no white people near. They are asking for justice when it comes to those who oppressed. So there are no the oppressors. That's why I'm saying it like this. The oppressors doesn't exist unless you're speaking circumstantially or situationally. So if you ask me who the oppressors are, it depends on the situation. You understand that? It should be clear. You shouldn't have to ask that again. It depends on the situation. A woman tells a man no. She's trying to leave out of the house. He grabs her in the house and he attacks her sexually. Who's the oppressor? Let me make it more specific. A black man and a black woman. Is that simple and specific enough? The black woman tries to leave. She doesn't want to interact with him sexually. All right? Not only does he snatch her back in, lock the door, stop her from being able to go, right? Which they call it false imprisonment. He also sexually abuses her. Who's the oppressor? The white man is nowhere around. I don't want to hear about they had it rough and they got an F on their paper when they was younger. And that they grew up on government cheese. I don't want to hear that. Who's the oppressor? I had enough on my paper before. I had it rough growing up. I had government cheese. I'm not a rapist. So who's the oppressor? The one who committed the rape. You isolate the race in politics and you deal with the beings involved and it starts making more sense. Deal with the beings involved. And you'll see, this is not a white man versus black man thing, white woman versus black woman. This is, you have evil people, you have good people, you have people who need to decide which one they are. Wicked people do wicked deeds. You understand that? All right. Any other questions? I think I answered who the oppressor. It depends on the situation. Are we not being tricked with what music they push out and what they promote on TV and the circumstances they put us into? No. People are not being tricked by the music. They're enjoying the music. Their religions told them don't listen to that type of music. Their pastor tells them don't listen to that type of music. The elders, the grandmamas, even though they might have had they devilish men around their time periods, They still say don't listen to that type of music. You got preachers out here, teachers out here, leaders out here saying don't listen to that type of music. Somebody in their life is telling them this is trash, turn it off. Something in themselves is saying murder is bad, but they still sit there and sing the lyrics. They're not being tricked, they're being ignorant. They're ignoring the information that's present right there. There's a spell of ignorance. You want to know, interestingly enough, one of Dr. Malachi York's books, he said the spell of ignorance is people see but they don't see. They hear but they don't hear. That's the spell of ignorance. Interestingly enough, one of the interviewers walked up to Lil Baby and was like, asking him how he deal with all the pressures and all that stuff. And Lil Baby was like, I see but I don't see. I hear but I don't hear. Not even understanding, that's the formula for the spell of ignorance. I could show y'all that if I went to one of my books I have on here. That's the spell of ignorance. So people are ignoring, and anybody being tricked, especially not in this day and time. There was a statement Dr. Malachi York was making in the time of Imam Isa, and he was teaching the Muslims at that time. And the question was something that was asked by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, peace be upon him. Can you fool a Muslim? He said, not nowadays, because you got all this information. All this information is out here. And even if you didn't have information or affirmation, you will still have affirmation or information in self. Something tells you this is wrong. Because the one who's the baby, who pushes the other baby down, the parent approaches and says, what happened? And the baby lies and says, he fell. He doesn't want to suffer the consequences. You with me? Or the baby will slap another baby and run because they don't want to suffer the consequences. How does this baby know to try to avoid consequences? And then some of them have genes in them naturally that are saying, don't think of consequences. That's where you get the little Johns going around whopping people in the head with a bottle and standing there and will buck on you. You see what I'm explaining to you? So, no, nobody's been tricked. Not right now. Not in that way. Anybody else? Come on now, rapid fire. Where y'all questions at? So, at this point, all of y'all who followed Nature Boy, Young Pharaoh, Rashad, it's gonna take some decision making on your part to rehabilitate oneself. Because Dr. Malachi York explained this also. He said, when someone brings you information or light, and it's not good light, it's bad light, they're not just talking to you, right, to your body. They're also talking to your psyche or your soul. So that becomes a plague and a virus, and it'll affect how you see things or whether or not you'll be able to receive certain degrees. Which is why a lot of people were attacking me. There are people in here who, when I was challenging RASHAD Jamal teachings and the people who follow him, y'all were right there with them saying, why you bashing and da-da-da-da, because y'all don't come from where I come from. Challenging another scholar, if they supposed to be that, isn't bashing. That would have never been deemed bashing. You'll be looked at weirdly by the elders who raised us if you got called out, right, on things that you're supposed to know, and you turn to the elder and say, why he bashing me? That was frowned upon. I come up in a very, very wise community, a very scholarly community. And there wasn't no such thing as running. You couldn't run to your master. The master look at you crazy. And there were plenty of videos of Dr. Malachi York, and he'll stand there and watch them people get their ass whooped. And say, see, you should have been ready. Why you stepped to him like that? You got to be ready to step to him like that. No, don't look to me. So when y'all were like, why are you bashing him? I didn't understand. Okay, I get it. They're not coming from that type of background. This is normal stuff. You don't listen, we'll go biblically. Let's deal with it. Biblically. What does it say? Test every spirit. That's the Christians should understand that. That's not even higher degree stuff. That's normal stuff. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try the spirits whether they are of God. They use this word God, right? Right here in this image, what you see to say, the God, young Pharaoh. The God, young Pharaoh. Calls himself young Pharaoh, and then in the same breath calls himself Tahuti. Anybody in here is Tahuti young? Anybody in here that knows anything about Jehudi? Is Jehudi young? Do any of the three aspects that exist as Jehudi, Jah, Hu, or Ti, whether as God, the utterance of Hu, or Ti as in life, okay, are any of these young? But he's Jehudi. He is Tehuti. He is Teo or Jah, Hu, and Ti, and he's young. He just got here. And he's a pharaoh. He's young, and he's a pharaoh, and he's the God. And he claims to understand about chemistry and doesn't understand about it. That's Tahuti? No, Tahuti's wisdom wouldn't fall. Tahuti's wisdom must stand up, because that's one of the original scribes. You had the utterers and then you had the scribes. The ones who uttered first were said to be the women. So who aligns more with T or Eve, all right, or the woman or Sashat, than what? Or Ma'at, than it would for men. What does this mean? You had the dictators and then you had the scribers. You know, the women were the ones who spoke. When you say Medu Neter, you're saying Medu Nejar, all right? Or the one who spoke as divine. Divine spoke, or divine speech, or divine speak. You with me? So Medu Neter, word of Medu. Neter, divine. That's the utterance, who. And then you have the scribes who came through to write down what was spoken. Language wasn't even native to men. It was harder for men to learn how to speak. But they did have the ability with the works of their hands to scribe things. That's why you will see both Seshat and Jehudi writing things out or delivering wisdom, because it's represented as the recordings of Medu Neter. When in all actuality, it was the men who were the original scribes. So someone taught how to speak and another taught how to write. So who is he who writes with the pen? Okay, the one with the pen. He who guides or writes or puts out with the pen. I say guides. He who guides with the pen. Let's go Quran. All right? He who guides with the pen or by the pen in the Quran refers to Allah, who is believed to be the author of the Quran. All right? So we're being told by this scripture that Allah carries a pen. All right? Let's look at Tahuti. The image of Tahuti. You see that? You see that? You see the sign of the ibis, okay? You see the pad and the pen, or the quill and the papyri, or papyrus? The writer, the master scribe, the original master scribe is said to be Tahuti. And then all these other depictions came later. So you see that right there mainly. Someone had to teach language. Someone had to carve on the stones to teach hieroglyphs or cuneiform. Okay? All right. So let's look at Seshat. image of Seshat. You see a similarity there? Most people don't talk about Seshat, though. Because, again, especially in a patriarchal reality, most of the time it's the man who's given the credit. All right? But in all actuality, she was the one or part of the orders who taught speech itself, the utterance itself, the ability to tune tones, heka itself. All right? So what is Seshat the goddess of? So that you don't think I'm just talking. Seshat was an ancient Egyptian goddess revered for her associating with writing, knowledge, wisdom, and record keeping or record keeping. Considered the scribe of the pharaoh, responsible for recording his achievements, including captives and booty, which is supposed to be things that were taken from battles. Seshat also oversaw the House of Life, a library containing Egypt's sacred texts, and was known as the mistress of the House of Books. Okay, so again, all of this aligns. So you had some who taught to write and some who taught to speak. Someone was teaching to write, someone was teaching to speak. So why is it important? Because when you're saying Tahuti, right there in the middle of Tahuti, you have this word Hu, all right, which is the god of uttering. All right, personification of creative utterance or the first word. All right, so what does this align to? I'll show you. In the beginning was what? It's the book of John. In the beginning was the what? The utterance. Who? Who was in the beginning? Yeah, who was in the beginning? That's a question and an answer, isn't it? In the beginning was who? In the beginning was the word, the first word. And the word was with God. And the word was God. Okay? That's Te right there. You got the word who, the word being with God, which is Te or Teo. All right, let's look at it. What is a Teo meaning? Or Theo, all right? Gift of God or divine gift, all right, or gift of God. So let's go Theo. We see the association there. God's gift or God, all right? God or deities, God. Okay, you see different meanings here. Okay, so we have Theo or Te, okay? Or The, or Ja, all right? Because you have Jahuti. So Ja means what? God. So you have Te or Ja, which will be sometimes said as DJ, okay? Which is Ja. Ja or Je or what is DHC? I think it is. I have to go back and look. I think it's DHZ that sometimes it's spelled. But you have Ja or Te. So let's go Te, Teo, Ta. I just showed you that. Te, Hu, Ti. All right? God. All right? The creator first, the first word. And then the living God, who is the woman or Ti. All right? So again, this is where you get the three. 1, 2, 3. Where you have Teoti, which becomes Thoth, becomes Hermes, all right? Thoth is the ancient Egyptian god of wisdom, writing in the moon, while Hermes is the Greek god of messengers, commerce, and travelers. The Greeks associated Thoth with Hermes, particularly during the Hellenistic period, and the two were often combined as Hermes Tres Megistus, meaning Hermes the thrice greatest. Why is it thrice greatest? Because I just showed you Teoti. That's the original, all right? Well, you would have to say, okay, this is the Trinity. Te, Hu, Ti. Te, Hu, Ti. Teudi. All right? Teudi, the omniscient wisdom of the supreme being living within you. Okay? So I explained all that to you. So in the beginning was the word. All right, we just went over that. So let's look at it again. Beloved, believe not every spirit, but try these spirits, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are going out into the world. We see that now, okay? People who say things are going to happen, they don't happen, all right? Again, people got upset with me for challenging these people. Y'all don't remember when they said people going to receive superpowers? Let's leave. We go NLE Chopper. People who NLE Chopper is a student of people like Young Pharaoh and RASHAD Jamal, like a lot of the people in these circles are. Remember that, though? because they started prophesying. It's a different thing. You start putting out good ideas. All right. But he started prophesying. All right. Let's say superpowers tweet. It might be able to come up. If not, we'll have to look deeper. But it was either 2021, 2020. It was one of these years. Remember that? And then he went on to say he had his powers and that he don't know about everybody else, but they didn't get theirs and all this other stuff. Y'all remember them days? Y'all don't know powerfully the pigment of us black people's skin is. When the black sun come in December, our melanin will soak in all the electromagnetic plasma, and we will be supernatural human beings. The reset, this change over will give us our power back. Keep clowning me though. Okay, so this is 2020. All right, what appears to be September 10th of 2020. Okay, so then let's look a little further. The sun will go down to 0 degrees. Saturn will go to 0 degrees, and Jupiter will be at 0 degrees at the same time. 0, 0, 0, that's a reset. Don't let the evil use this energy to keep us at fear, hateful, guilt, and grieving state. Or at a fear, hateful, and guilt and grieving state. We need everyone putting change out to the world. It's important we meditate for peace, love, prosperity, and manifest for yourself on the 21st. The astrology is working in our benefits, especially melanin beings. All of this is just messed up. Melanin, there's no such thing as melanin beings. Everybody that's a human being has melanin. Why are we talking about the astrology working in our benefits? Astrology doesn't work. Astrology just is a study of stars and how either they rotate or are positioned and located, or the planet rotates or orbits around the sun. So we see those different stars different ways at different times, depending on which one you believe. Well, how does astrology work? It doesn't do a thing. It is a study of a thing. Anyway, this is the reset, the moment we've been waiting on, but it still will take willpower to work towards your manifestations. All right, let's see. Where did he say he had his powers? Then when nobody didn't get no powers, then what he did. The superpower is being able to create your whole reality even better than you once was able to. So therefore, I got my powers, beloved. No. That's not what you said. You said, where is it at? You said, we will be supernatural human beings. You had everybody, you the reason why motherfuckers out here editing videos with them waving bottles and shit. It's y'all niggas did that shit. Right? Government ain't never gonna visit them people. These people are master editors. Or it ain't even really mastery. It's only mastery because people don't edit. So certain subtle cues people miss. Like a nigga who said he can levitate, but it's always shot in 60 frames per second. And then it never showed the whole thing. He raising up off the ground. I'm like, this nigga is jumping in 60 frames per second. And thousands of people are talking about, wow, this is amazing. We're so beautiful. I love us. You love their ability to slow down the jump, and you mad at me. If that's the case, I'm going to levitate then. Y'all want me to start doing telekinesis? Do y'all want me to start doing telekinesis? Just let me know. Y'all the reason why Drewski and them making fun of the woke community. I'm like, that's called air. Then there's these other people. I thought they were extinct, but they're coming back. The tree talkers. Who is never, it's always a windy day. They go out there and they talk to trees. And here's what y'all don't see. How many takes it takes. I know stuff like that because I do videos. Y'all don't look at how many takes it took for that damn, what's the tree name? Whoever the fuck the girl done named the tree. Goy, Gil, whatever this girl name is. Gina, Tina, whoever the fuck the tree name is. How many takes did it take for that tree to be blown in the wind like that? The tree ain't never standing still. As soon as you walk up to the tree, the motherfucker talks. And then she just moved her shoulder to us. Oh, this is beautiful. I love us. We are so advanced. No, we are so devolved. If we've resorted to wind talking to trees. No, people just wait for a windy time period. The aerokinetics be sending me because it's never a still day. It's always a windy day. Y'all don't notice this type of stuff that they be setting out there? I'm like, how many takes did it take? For you to wait for the right moment to move your hands like you're Ong and then blow the damn shit that was already blowing. It was already blowing. I could see it before the wind pick up. Bro, I don't know, bro. I don't know if we had too much TV or not enough TV. But my point is, these people were supposed to get superpowers. And then he said, well, the superpower is being able to create your reality. The superpower is being able to create your whole reality even better than you once was able to. So therefore, I got all my powers, beloved. This nigga went on to say, this NLE Chakra dude, he went on, this is what his superpowers led him to say. I'll show you. Do 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 do. Do 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 Why you hating, Faise? I'm not hating. I'm just showing you real stuff. How is this hating? How are these your leaders? Because I ain't never heard Malachi say no shit like this. I ain't never heard me say no shit like this. Hold on. First of all, the name of it is Slut Me Out 2. Why is that as a man? Why is that your title? And as somebody who's earned their superpowers from like the sun being in cahoots with Jupiter and shit at 0 o'clock, how does the Superman develop slut me out demands? I'm not seeing the correlation. This sounds like when Nature Boy said he was the Christ and then went on to tell me about how he used to be a male stripper. I'm just not seeing the correlation. I'm not saying there is none. I'm just saying if there is some, I'm not observing it. So, okay, let's see what happens when you get your superpowers. I need all the bad bitches to the floor. If I was a bad bitch, I wanna hump me too. Okay. So as I understood myself, let's go back to the superpower is being able to create. It was so interesting. People think I have to hate on people. They don't even be understanding. I just be showing what people do. Do I even have to say anything? Do I even have to speak on this type of shit? Or do I have, like, I could literally just go live and just press play on stuff people did. This shit they do. I didn't do this. Ain't no way in the hell I'm gonna do this. So this came from superpowers though. So, beloved. Look, there go the word. You can't make this up. Beloved. Look at God right there. Therefore, I got all my powers, beloved. Because people getting on his ass. Like, ain't no superpowers, bro. So he stayed up and he was reading the tweets. Because this shit, 12:21, 20. Oh, yeah, he stayed up to 2:46 a.m. was like, they finna get on my ass because ain't nobody super yet. So he was like, anyway, the superpower is being able to create your whole reality even better than what she was. So therefore, I got all my powers, beloved. I know what they sound like when I read that shit. I got all my powers, beloved. Worry about you. But you didn't. You didn't. Because that mean that ain't reserved for melanin dominant people. There's motherfucking Caucasoids out here manifesting this shit out their reality every day. False prophets. Be on your guard. Take heed that no man deceive you. It's not that fucking hard. And wouldn't you rather be one of your brothers show you other than when what happened when Billy Carson go and get crucified in all these clips with Wes Huff? That was crazy. I'm like, ain't no way in the hell we would have went out that sad. We wouldn't have went out that sad. I know one person that wouldn't have went out sad like that. Malachi wouldn't have went out sad like that. Wes Huff would have been like, can we do it again? Or either if he would have been like, either we doing it again or we're not airing it. It would have been the other way around. Wes Huff would have been trying to sue Malachi. I know for sure Malachi wouldn't have went out how Billy went out. I know that for sure. Because they was already trying to debate Pops. And realized they would do it in private and then realized how lethal he was. And they never did it public. They did test runs on Pops. And saw he was the real deal. And then they just went home and was like, hey, man, I'm just going to leave y'all alone. You with me? They don't want to do it with us. So, and then you had time to prepare. You had time to know whether or not you know what the fuck you talking about. And you still came up there like half-assing. Making this whole shit look bad. Because people think y'all the scholars. All right? And then y'all see people come up here, right? I don't be Googling the shit. I be talking to them, walking around outside the shit. You can't act like you that. And then, again, you can't give nobody like me no time to put notes together, none of that, and say we finna debate religion? Oh, it's over. You can't give me a day. You can't give me 5 minutes. So, yeah, I don't know what the hell the nigga knew 3-4 weeks in advance. You finna go up against Wes Huff and get your ass whooped. Right? So, what God say? Oh, yeah, we got your beloved. I got your beloved. That nigga said, beloved. Believe not every spirit, but try the spirits. Test them, whether they are of God, because many false prophets are going out into the world. Hereby ye know the Spirit of God. Every spirit that confesses that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is of God. And every spirit that confesses not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is that spirit of Antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already it is in the world. So I told you, I don't say that there's just one Antichrist. That's an illusion. They tell you right there that many of them are having the spirit of Antichrist. There's many Antichrists out here. What's that last line? Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world. Oh, then don't get mad at me if I question these people. They shouldn't get mad at me. They should feel excited. I'd be excited to tell people, come on up here. Oh, let's do this right here in front of everybody right now. Yeah. Right here. I'm excited because whatever I'm bringing is in alignment with divinity. And if you're going to test me and show that I'm not in alignment, that gives me the opportunity to right oneself. I don't, there's no ego with that. I want to be able to right myself. So then test me. And then they run. You with me? So stop following these people. They don't know what they're talking about. All of them was saying that shit. And then they were like, well, we already popped. You know, you can't backtrack. Y'all let me know if y'all can hear me still. You can't backtrack. It didn't happen. Which means that what? It's a false prophecy. Now, there was also something that Pops was reading in the book of Matthew 24. Let's see if we can get a read on that. Let's see what we get from that. Matthew 24. Let's see if we can take away things that may be happening in this day. Matthew 24. KJV. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple. And his disciples came to him for to show him the buildings of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, see ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? All right. And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. That's the first thing you open up with. Don't be deceived. These leaders out here, these spiritual internet gurus out here, these TikTok regurgitationalist specialist people, these regurgitation nation station inhabitants out here claim that they're above the Bible. They don't read the Bible. They don't deal with the Bible. That's religion. Da da da. Yes or no? Do the people in that same community call themselves gods? Yes or no? Do they talk about they are gods? We are gods. We are the gods. All of us are gods. All right? Let's go. Psalms, the book of Psalms, chapter 82, verse 6, because that's all they know about anyway. They don't know about the darkness that was spoken of, the priests and the chiefs and all them being challenged. They're only referring to that anyway. What did it say? I said, ye are gods, sons of the Most High, all of you. They just repeating the Bible. They talk about the third eye. It's in the Bible. They talk about, let's deal with it. Let's deal with it. The light of the body is the eye. There's a whole science that comes with that, ain't it? The light of the body is the eye. Highlights the importance of having a single eye. The one eye. Meaning a pure and focused attention or motivation. All right, let's see, where is that? The light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. But if thine eye be evil, thy whole body shall be full of darkness. If therefore that light or that is in thee be darkness, how great is that darkness? You hear me? Okay. I just showed you ye are gods. I showed you the third eye. All right. The kingdom of God is within. God is within. God is within. God is within. The kingdom of God is within. Let's look at it. And when he was demanded of the Pharisees, when the kingdom of God should come, he answered them and said, the kingdom of God cometh not with observation. Neither shall they say, lo, here, or lo, there. For behold, the kingdom of God is within you. All that's in the Bible. The astrologers, in the Bible. Tarot readers, Bible. Everything that people talking about here is in the Bible. You with me? So no, they haven't gone beyond that degree. Because you're still using all the terminology and stories and all of that other degree. People call themselves messiahs and chosen ones. That's in the Bible. The elect that people call themselves, the whole spiritual community got leaders talking about some we the chosen ones. That's in the Bible. Am I wrong? Anybody here think I'm wrong? I got to show you everything. Those who are chosen, those who are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Let's go to that scripture. Those who are with him are called and chosen and faithful. Listen, I used to love. All right, we'll just deal with NIV right now. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them. Paul told me, hey, because he is Lord of Lords. Tell me about it. A King of Kings. Tell me about it. And with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers. Listen, called, chosen, faithful followers. Why am I saying that again? because you have to be called and chosen and faithful. And you have to understand what all three of those mean. Who are the called? Those who are telepathically inclined enough to be able to receive certain signs in this day and time and understand what they mean. The Most High is speaking to your heart, speaking to your mind. The angels are walking around you, testing you in real time. They're calling. E.T., phone home, dealing with the elect, which is elite. Those of you who are elite, communication is taking place right now. Chosen. There are 2 degrees of being chosen. One is you were tapped and you agreed. 2 is you may not have been tapped, but you tapped yourself and you stood in agreement. You chose yourself. And you said, I'm going to get home. I don't know what all of this is, but I'm going to find it out. And you became a seeker of that, which is home. Faithful. Those who are filled with the Spirit. What is the Spirit? Spirit is information, knowledge, wisdom. And some people say understanding, which is right knowledge, right wisdom, right understanding, okay? And sound and right reasoning, or sound right reasoning. Okay, you put a comma after sound. Sound right reasoning. Okay? You have to have all of that. Well, what was this? People stuck at the chosen. What about whether or not you're called? People stuck at the chosen. Whether or not are you going to be faithful to be able to complete the transformation? Because they already waging war. But it say what? The Lamb will triumph over them because he is Lord of Lords, King of Kings. Stay with me. So you got a whole community of people saying that they chosen. A whole community of people who are saying they're a part of the elect or the elite ones. So have they really surpassed what's referred to as Christianity? The answer simply is no. And then they have not dealt with the more complex degree, Islam or Muhammadism. But they dare try to talk about it. They don't know what they're talking about. Who are you going to be able to reach in any of these crowds? You with me? I'll tell you something else that happened recently. Somebody was, Kevin Gates just posted him and Brittany Renner. Something about the marriage or whatever it was, celebration. And I commented, I was like, Islam is beautiful. All right? Then you have somebody say, is the part about Muhammad marrying a 6-year-old or a 9-year-old, is that the beautiful, which part? Which part is beautiful? Is that the beautiful part? And I was watching everybody else responding, and you had a lot of people who were Muslim coming in and trying to respond. But they believe hadith that say Aisha, or Hazrat Aisha, peace be upon her, was 6 years old or even 9 years old, because you have different points that they were saying. You have Sahih Muslim, I think it was Abu Qari, but it's different ones that say different things. But the main point is conventionally that there was a speaking of marriage. And then she became 9 years old when there's a consummation of the marriage, meaning they had sex. That's according to what people believe, right? However, I'm watching everybody try to explain, and they're really still arguing on the point of, oh, times were different back then. They're not making anything better. So I explained, I said to the person, I said, well, how old was Aisha, or Hazrat Aisha, peace be upon her, in the times of the migration, Hijrah? How old was she? Right? And again, most people don't know that. So they'll refer to one thing and say she had to be anywhere between 6 to 9 years old. What they're not understanding was it was said that over or around 1 to 2 years after. Okay, first of all, for those who don't know what Hijrah is, according to the stories, Prophet Muhammad, or Rasulullah Muhammad, all right, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or peace be upon him, had to travel from Mecca to Medina because of the persecution that they were facing while they were in Mecca. All right, he had followers or disciples, Muhammad himself. So they had to travel. And when they wound up traveling, I think it was around 622 or 622 CE, or Common Era. They traveled there, and there was someone that was speaking to, I can't remember the sister's name. I gotta go back and look it up. But they were realizing all of the persecution he was going through, and that he was alone in it, alone in his sorrows. And they were like, you need to get married. You need to marry somebody. You know what I mean? So he was asked, like, who do you recommend that I marry? Okay, and that's how the conversation became of Aisha. there are different interpretations and translations. If you were able to present that all of the Islamic community speaks and says that Aisha was 6 years old or 9 years old is another thing, but that's not the case. There are many scholars to this day. Asma, her sister. So her sister was 27 when, according to certain stories, when Muhammad, peace be upon him, had to go to Medina with his disciples. So then that would have meant that Aisha was 17 when he left Mecca. And then the marriage took place either 1 to 2 years after that, which would have meant that Aisha would have been how old? 19 years old. Not 9. So here's what people do. They look for fault in Islam. They find certain things that were being expressed that they think could help them push forth their fault. They will turn a blind eye to the fact that that's a debated topic. And a lot of the scholars have more information that supports that Aisha was not a 9-year-old when Muhammad consummated marriage. She had to be 19 or in her early 20s, which would have been around 2 years after she was 17 when the pilgrimage to Hijra took place. You understand what I'm explaining to you? Now, how do I know all of this? Am I reading something right now? I don't know what would make you think that. All right, there go, the Holy Tablets over here. That was one of the things we did the other day when the lady was on the live. Ain't nothing around me like that. And you know I ain't finna point down. I got my situation right here. But I got this Holy Tablets right here. I'm not reading nothing. All right? That's not the Holy Tablet, the Holy Bible. Right? So you have to know these things to be able to explain it, is what I'm explaining to you. Okay? But a lot of Muslims were in the comments, they're trying to debate, but they themselves don't know. Because people, what they'll try to do, because it's a part of their faith, is they'll try to justify Muhammad being with a 9-year-old. That's not justifiable, especially not in this society. At this point in time, you cannot justify it to anybody who's sane, right? Everybody will understand, no matter what even naturally the human body allows for. A child is not to be interacting with a male in that way. They're not even developed. They don't know anything about who they are. That's manipulation, and that's why they call it abuse. You understand? If it ever existed a time, it's nowhere near this time and nowhere near 622. All right? If there ever existed one. And just because something is starting to happen in the human body that allows for them to go through puberty and things like that doesn't mean that in the beginning of that process, put a baby in his child. You understand? So nothing that you would try to explain would be justifiable. Okay? So learn more about your own texts, your own hadith, all right, your own tafsir. Learn more about it so when these people coming at you about your religion, I'm not even Muslim. Why do I have to do it? So you'll be able to tell them, first of all, bro, I know you only, it's confirmation bias. You want something to be wrong with Islam, so you want something to be wrong with that messenger. Sound familiar? They want something to be wrong with Nuwapu, so they want something to be wrong with our messenger who brought us that science. And then they'll go and do the same thing. Oh, he was with children. That's not true. There were no children a part of the case, but they'll say that there were children a part of the case. That's not true. The Habiba Washington, that's misrepresented. They lied about the age. You feel what I'm saying? So there was nobody underage in any of these stories, and all that was lies. You get what I'm explaining to you? But the media doesn't care whether or not it's lies. And Christians don't care whether or not they're lying on Muslims. So Muslims, the only defense you'll have in that is studying more the hadith. And I would tell you this. Whether it's Al-Bukhari, whether it's Sahih Muslim, whatever. These are just hadith. The main focus is Al-Quran. So anybody want to bring up hadith, if you really want to usurp all that bullshit, you make sure, but you have to understand about it. Make sure you tell them that Al-Quran said it's the best hadith. It's the best statement. And I can't vouch for, I believe in Allah. This is your statement. I'm not telling you got to do it. I'm saying this will be what will help you. Listen, I am a believer. I am mu'mineen. All right. Allah alone. I don't believe man. So I believe that the Quran or the recitation was brought to me by Rasulullah Muhammad. Peace be upon him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. I don't believe hadith. I don't believe tafsir. I don't even believe sunnah. Okay? Because that's a hadith that said that Allah gave the Quran or his recitation and the sunnah. I don't believe any of that. I believe what was supposed to have been delivered. Jibril, who was al-Malika or al-Malak, all right, or Malaika, a messenger or an angel, or angelos, or angel. I believe him, and I believe the messenger who said it, who is Muhammad. I'm not telling you not to believe hadith. You have the choice. I'm saying if you want to deal with these people truthfully and not have to deal with all the extra squabbles of stuff that they can't even confirm themselves, remind them that the Quran is the main hadith and ask them to find you in Al-Quran that it says that Muhammad married a 6 or 9-year-old. You see what I'm saying? So again, they don't want to do the extensive research that it takes. I understand it. To deal with all of the stories. You're not just dealing with somebody's account of when they were talking about whether or not they reached puberty and all this other stuff, because Aisha was said to have her own stories in it too, because she has her hadith. You're not just dealing with the account of that, or whoever could have wrote that at whatever point in time. You're also dealing with what other things would have been happening around those time periods historically, regardless of someone's documented sayings or feelings about something that was going on. So if it is true that Muhammad went to Medina around that time period, then people had ages around that time, didn't they? So then the question is, how old was Aisha, or Hazrat Aisha, peace be upon her, to show respect to the Muslims who may be listening? That's why I do that. How old was she when he went to Medina? And you have to match that age to 1 to 2, because it's debated, 1 to 2 years after that. That's when the marriage would have been, first of all, spoken about in that time period, and then consummated. She was an adult. She was an adult. There are people out here that think 18 years old is grown. Your law thinks 18 years old is grown. And you're telling me back in that time period, somebody was 18, 19, or early 20s getting married to a prophet, and this is wrong? When right now you got people out here, you got rappers out here, 27, 28, 30 years old, dating 18, 19-year-olds. And y'all turn a blind eye, especially if you like them. So no, people are just looking for something to be wrong with Islam. All right? My point is, as soon as you figure out what the truth is and you start heading into these searches again, you research and research and search again, and you come back and say, okay, you'll be able to deal with these people who present fallacy. So then that person has to deal with, okay, am I going to look into what he's saying? Because there are many hadith that say the main thing is 9 verses 19. All right, which is a science within itself. But there's far less to support she was 6 or 9. There's far more to support historically that not only was she between the ages of 17 and 19 when they were talking about the marriage, she had to be much older than 17, okay, for that marriage to be consummated at that time period, for all those events to make sense. And then don't forget her sister, which helps you also find out, because they talk about her sister's age, 27. So you just subtract 10. All right? Okay. So there we go. So a lot of people will try to say that Muhammad is calling me, and I don't know why. I'm gonna have to stop allowing my phone just be on. I gotta do not disturb. Right? So a lot of people are saying that in the Christianity, they're taught that Muhammad is a false prophet. That he's one of the false prophets that the Bible would have been speaking about. First of all, all of that's based on belief, for one. Second of all, Muhammad doesn't speak negatively in Al-Quran about Isa al-Maryam, or about Jesus, the Messiah, or son of Mary, or Isa al-Messiah, okay, which is Jesus the Messiah. He doesn't speak negatively about him. They revere Jesus or Isa. So So people are thinking that because the Muslims don't believe that Jesus was crucified on the cross according to what was delivered to them. First of all, is any Christian able to prove that Jibril or Gabriel did not come to Muhammad? Conversation get real short. Can you prove, yes or no, that there was never a night of power? Can you prove that it never took place? Can you prove that he was never visited and taken up into the sky and what do you call Al-Isra or Mirage? They can't prove these things. So then all you know is what? There's a possibility that Gabriel did come to Prophet Muhammad and speak to him and give him information about things that would come, and mostly a reminder about things that did take place. Right? Somebody says holes in both stories. It must be holes in both stories because you're dealing with translations and transliterations and interpretations of man. So when you're dealing with those three things, transliterations, translations, and interpretations, and you're dealing with someone as fallible as man, not to say that God isn't fallible now, that's a whole nother story. Okay? But let's say that we want to make a distinction. When you're dealing with something as fallible as insan, the forgetful ones, there may be holes. There may be things lost. You understand? There may be things confused. All right? Exactly. Some of the things supposed to be original got burned. So a lot of what was supposed to be kept, and that's why I tell the Muslims, excuse me, there really shouldn't be a book because it's all supposed to be recited. All right? It's all a recitation. This is supposed to be recited to people, which it stresses the importance of observing Hafiz. When Hafiz come with a message, you sit and you listen and you observe it. The Quran wasn't delivered in a day. It took years. You see what I'm saying? So then this being not only spoke this once, he must have spoken this over and over to Muhammad. So Muhammad would remember it. And what would be one of the best ways to remember something as extensive as Al-Quran? And I don't just mean extensive in length. I mean extensive in all of the different ways that one Arabic word can be expressed. Okay? Or you have word comparisons, or you have the direct translation, which oftentimes is lacking. There's a multidimensional language. You understand? You would have to sit there and receive all of that over and over again. What's the best way? The best way would be through song. So when you listen to recitation of Quran or Al-Quran, what are you hearing? Singing. Where they open up, they call it the open up, Al-Fatiha, right? Which is still out of order because it's not in order revelation. All right, you have Al-Alaq, all right, Al-Alaq, that becomes, I think it's Surah 96 or chapter 96, is the beginning of the recitations, all right, or the revelation. So sometimes you have people that will argue that say we should do this in the order of revelation, and others say we're going to just do it in order of its being placed as a codex in the Quran. So they open up, they start singing immediately. Bismillah Rahman Rahim. All right. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. If you sit and listen to a recitation in that way or in that manner, years and years and years, you will remember. That's why it might be confusing. Like, how could there be Hafiz? How could a Hafiz exist? Well, they were sang to. Think of all the songs. Let me show you this. Think of all the songs you know by your favorite artists. All right? Let's say you were to sit down and write all of those lyrics down into a pamphlet or a book. That book will be thick within itself, right? And then you go all of the favorite artists that you have. Let's say each of those favorite artists is one surah or one chapter. Wouldn't you come back with something that's either thicker than or as thick as Al-Quran? Okay. So then when you're singing a thing, you go look it up. It helps with retention abilities. The way something is spoken, all right, is retained either. Arabic, if people paid attention, if they speak it right and sing it right, especially because it's a song language, it's easier to remember and learn than a lot of these languages because of that very fact. It's sing-songy. That's the way the tones are expressed. So if people dealt with that song alone, that became a new song, all right? If people dealt with that song alone, they would find the keys that were hidden in it. And you don't have to argue these people about hadith. I don't want to argue about hadith if I'm a believer in the message of Allah. And this is as close as I can get to it, because it's not, you know what I'm saying, at this time, because it's not Allah himself speaking, it's his messenger speaking, who is Jibril. So the first messenger of Allah wasn't even Rasulullah. In this story, it would have been Jibril, because Jibril came with a message. All right. So I don't know if people want to count Jibril as a prophet or Nebi. Well, he is a messenger, or he is a prophet who came and brought a message by way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Are y'all hearing me clearly? So the closest you get to it as a Muslim is this story, the Quran. And then if you don't know Arabic or Arabiya, you don't speak the languages, understand the dialects, or understand what these words mean, you set yourself up for a higher mess, because what if there have been mistranslations? Did you go and study to make sure? Because you're translating a language like Arabic into English, you'll run into problems. You understand? So you had to go word for word. Malachi York went word for word. Make sure that he translated Al-Quran word for word. You with me? There's a Mahdi translation also that people can look into. So it depends. But again, if certain things have already set in, you say, this is my way of life, this is my religion, this is my deen, I'm going to stick to it, and you don't want to go based off the Quran, that's on you. But then are you achieving the degree of being one who's worthy of praise? Or are you achieving your proof that you can follow Muhammad? Which is why you got something called Muhammadism. There should be no ism after Muhammad, but it exists. Why? Because people follow Muhammad, and they listen more to how they're supposed to Sunnah. They listen more to Hadith than they do Al-Quran. And that's what people are arguing over. Why should you argue over the Quran? The Quran is clear. If you pay attention, most people are citing and living by what people have told them to do. It has nothing to do with the Quran. You see what I'm saying? So is Muhammad the false prophet, or are the ones who push these narratives and commentaries the false prophets? You see what I'm explaining to you? Because Muhammad bears witness to Isa and shows love multiple times, according to the story. And if it wasn't him directly, it surely was Jibril, and he didn't leave it out. All right, cool. So let's keep it going. As he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, tell us. All right, okay. Take heed that no man deceives you. I just talked about this. All right, this is a deceiver right here. Hold on. Let's pull it up again and see if it moves. If not, then, yeah, here it goes. This is a deceiver. This person had an issue with Dr. Malachi York also. Right? And you can see why, because he doesn't amount. But this is a deceiver. RASHAD Jamal is a deceiver. Nature Boy is a deceiver. Who else you got out? 19 Keys is a deceiver. Interestingly enough, somebody just has showed me, he's like, yo, they said some 19 Keys wants you to take shrooms and all this other stuff. Right? Even though the Lions made this order of the conversation, but the point is, as I'm pushing, people don't need to be out here on shrooms, weed, or none of that. They need to be sober-minded. Okay? Sober-minded. It's a difference than even being sharp-minded. It's the sober central mind that's going to be able to receive these messages, these uploads, and focus to be able to complete the transformation. You understand? And people don't want to listen, that's fine. But you have to pay attention to who's deceiving, who's pushing certain things. Yeah, 607 is a deceiver. Bobby Hemmett is a deceiver. And all I'm telling you is, if anybody wants to debate it, that's fine. I'll just deal with it truthfully. I'm not even going to debate you. I'm just going to deal with it truthfully, because debate can be based on anything. Right? So these people are deceivers. Coming in the name of Sophia, coming in the name of Baphomet. They literally telling you who they come in the name of. You with me? So they said, take heed that no man deceive you. You're already in that time period. It's been that for a while. Okay? But why is this important? Okay? Because the spirit of the true and living wouldn't lead you astray. Stay with me. It's called the true light. Watch this. What is this? Okay, let me see if there's something that's supposed to come through here.
And when you see a brother who's totally delirious, unable to coagulate words, he's about down to one, and some just go vegetate out. And what they have to do is they give you all types of drugs so that it drops your body down to what's referred to as an alpha wavelength, which is one step from dead. And that way you stay what they refer to as monotone. Monotheos, monotone. Mono, they keep you dead, right? And so they're now capable of sending these frequencies out. They're putting these stations along the road. I know as y'all cross the country, if you'll look up, you'll see this thing on a tall pole, and it's shaped like a tetrahedron, and it has little things on all three sides. Just look for them.
That's interesting. As soon as he got on here, what'd he say? He said they got him on all kind of drugs to keep that frequency down. Saying, I was just saying, people don't need to be on drugs. People don't need to be on. That shit just keep happening. But anyway, you see how it says Dr. Melakazi York, Dean of Allah, Imam Asa, True Light tape. You see where it says True Light? All right. You are now listening to the True Light. Okay, let's go to that Faise One album. Let's see the beginning. All right. 9th hour. Faise One. Where is it at? Oh, the video drop? Oh, that's fire. Let's watch this video real quick. I forgot I dropped it at 3. So I just dropped another video with a music video with the brother Lunatic Malik.
The industry don't want no interruption. They know you headed down the path of destruction. They social media your eyes, tell a bunch of lies. The conquering divide, this ain't assumption. We are the kings and queens, the sinners of God. They try to erase we were enslaved and defeated the odds. We killing each other a lot, then they case doing life on the yard. Oh, I make it to heaven, cause dying is easy, but living is hard. Look at the lies that they telling you, and all of the trash that they selling you. They had to get me because I am black, and on top of that I'm a felon too. They've been locked up in more than a cellar too. They already conquered the youth, and they keep it real. They afraid of the truth, and we too busy living like we bulletproof. We chase wealth cause life is hard, but I feel confident. I staff and ride, rep G.O.D. Come get with the squad. We kings and queens, descendants from God. We get our power from the sun and the earth. Our purpose is preordained before birth. I'm one of the greatest rappers on this earth. Try to X me out like a hate should get cursed. Ain't no turning back when the trigger burst. Now another favorite rapper in the hearse for his last ride to get put in dirt. Cause another brother wanna put in work. It might be harsh, but it's reality. I say too much, FBI gon' be after me. When it come to my culture and history, I'm standing on 10 with war come casualties. The industry don't want no interruption. They know you headed down the path of destruction. They social media your eyes, tell a bunch of lies. The conquering divide, this ain't assumption. We are the kings and queens, the sinners of God. They try to erase we were enslaved, but defeated the odds. We killing each other a lot, then they case doing life on the yard. Oh, I make it to heaven, cause dying is easy, but living is hard.
Complicated in the bitch, it's a dumb mistake to think it is. And if I'm crazy when I get it, just call me A and run $1 billion to me. I don't suffer from civilian disease. Real soldier in them trenches and trees. My spirit creeping through the wind and the breeze. Got niggas hopping over fences to flee from me. What am I becoming? Nigga, test me and see come at me. Johnny, I hear dogs talking, I see fleas jumping. I'm leaving their mouths open like a squeeze. Coming out for see the weeping in the teeth jumping. I got 3 summonings I need to complete. One of their names are like G something. The other one don't got identity. I gotta talk to a middleman to communicate with him. Stay with me. Then there's a third one that's me. True descendant of God. I got earth in my gene. With the apparitions I converse in my dream. And they told me everything. Life is but a stage. Jerry Springer. Whose entertainment are you? Turn a TV off. One day we leave off. One ray will bring the sight to Stevie Wonder or maybe even Charles. See, but y'all, the industry don't want no interruptions. They know you headed down the path of destruction. They social media your eyes, tell a bunch of lies. The conquering divide, this ain't assumption. We are the kings and queens, the sinners of God. They try to erase we were enslaved and defeated the odds. We killing each other a lot, then they case doing life on the yard. Oh, I make it to heaven, cause dying is easy, but living is hard.
Yeah, they are. Anyway, like I was saying. And that ain't nothing. I'm just getting started. I tell you, they didn't get the right nigga the tools. Gotta figure some shit out. Yeah, Night Hour Phase One. No, I'm gonna do that movie. I'm telling you, I'm still gonna do that movie. We're gonna do some fire shit. I was talking to Trey about doing some shit. Like a hood movie that had like some woke shit in it. But it's comedy. I'm looking for it. Why I can't find it? I might as well just type full album instead of keep scrolling like this. Yeah, I'm gonna do the movie.
The client review was brutal.
We're going to be underwater for weeks.
You're now listening to The True Light.
I hope you don't worry.
Okay, you heard when it came on, right? You are now listening to The True Light. So the True Light teachings is Dr. Malachi York. And he said, if there's a true light, there must be a what? Must be a fake light or false light. So that you have to test every spirit to see whether or not they're of the true light. See whether or not they speak the truth. It's not that hard. RASHAD Jamal told everybody that I said I was Dr. York's son. Survey said that was a lie. RASHAD Jamal told everybody I couldn't show everybody 25,000. We came on here and I showed y'all 25,000. Y'all remember that? If you don't remember that, guess what? Survey said that was a lie. RASHAD Jamal said that I was built sloppy. We came on here, we cleared it up. I showed y'all that. Survey said that was a lie. RASHAD Jamal said I only have one style of music. Okay, Survey said that was a lie. Okay, what did he tell the truth about? He did the whole thing. Everything was capped. Is this a spirit that speaks truth? Because you either going to speak the truth or you going to speak a lie. Right, let's say Faise One RASHAD Jamal. I know I did a live. I was explaining it. Yep, it was called, I think there's one on, what the other one at? I'll go to the one. Exactly. The fuck you talking about? I click on my shit and it do it. To find out the truths. I ain't run, here go his shit. Remember this? This was amazing.
Don't just accept what anybody's saying, the imam, whoever.
Exactly.
Don't just accept it. And have questions. And if you have questions and they don't want to answer, you might be in the wrong place.
There you go.
But first, start with Al-Quran and read it. You can just, you don't have to go into the order of revelation. You can just read it how it's written.
I was just talking about that, wasn't it?
Right? And read through. Or you can go through the order of revelation. You can find the order of revelation on the internet, starting off with that 96, the clock, and go on from there.
I just talked about that.
You know what I mean? And don't spiritualize it. When you see things in that book, do your best to make sure that it's materialized for yourself. Tangible ideas. They talk about Jibril. Okay, Angel Jibril is an extraterrestrial because he's not from Earth. You know what I'm saying? You need to look at things like that as a person, not some spirit floating around with wings. You know what I mean? Which means you have to think about the types of vehicle and technologies they would have had. Be very intentional about your studies when it comes to it. Check out Lamp Turn Your Lights on Ankh. He says he's Martin Luther King. I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about, bro. That's Bando. I don't know why you mad.
Try to see where I was breaking it down at.
Keep shouting, you're like, thank you. What are you talking about? Y'all step away and then come back asking questions that you would have known if you ain't go nowhere. Where you went? Is the color green not still a part of this reality? Is the science of green light still not available on YouTube? Where did you go? The light is supposed to be a part of you now. It's already in you now. You already, I would stand. I got him out. Oh, let's read what Pop. Let's read what Dr. Malachi York says. To teach you as you did call your homeland Ghanawa, Mother Africa. You did call our fashion of Mother Nature. So I raise up from you female messengers, women messengers. Will you reject them as well?
Come on.
Many men will teach you Unuwapu, as myself in male flesh. Yet the Motosaltetu, female messengers, are women to whom I gave this final message from confinement. I was inspired by Pa Nazaru to reveal this revelation to the Nuwapians, Patarak, to you, and then from the women to the 24 elders, headed by women, with men beside them. This is how he chose to reveal it to you in these final days, that perhaps you will listen and take heed to the voice of Mother Nature. Where the fuck do you niggas get off? Where y'all get off?
Come on.
So I'll tell you what not to do. Stop looking at them as some object where their feelings don't matter.
Come on.
It'll help you. You understand? I'll tell you what not to do. Stop listening to these people who don't respect the sisters. They try to act like they do. But then you finally see, so their sexual energy, their ego, which is attached to it, is challenged. They're attacking them. They're attacking them. I don't think y'all understand what I'm saying. Pop talks to them. Let me see what else you got.
Yeah, not JYP. You know for sure. I know you know. Brother Polite, all them act like they about their life. Come on, Porsche.
It was some other ones.
You know what's going on. What they really on? What the type of time they really on?
Yeah, in these final days, I send you female messengers. You know what I mean? A lot of people don't want to put the sisters in position because they scared. They scared. You feel me? So my point is, you ain't got to use all that abrupt force and all that other stuff. Bro, these niggas
Come on, Porsche.
They don't understand that. You can't attack Mother Nature.
Come on, Porsche.
You can't attack the female, the woman, and then think shit gonna go right for you. What you talking about?
Brother Polite, Prince York. Come on.
What energy do you think you give out to the people? I don't think I give nothing out to the people energetically wise. Everybody's going to receive energy differently. I just speak the truth, and I'll do the truth for works, and they can take it how they want to take it. Just make sure that if I give you a formula and you look down and you say, why you got on blue jeans? And you get mad because I got on blue jeans and you don't like that color, that has nothing to do with me. That's how you take it. When the queen of the South shall rise. Love me a sister. Best kept secret is the woman. Best kept secret. Say that. Say that. Come on. It's not just the sister. Anyway. Because niggas want to do that too. As soon as you start talking about the power of a woman, niggas want to say, but we in it too. Bro, you've been in it for 6,000 years. It's been patriarchy. What are you talking about? They've been taking this shit over. Only time niggas want to defend the power shit and the balance.
I'm trying to see where I put it at, because it's the first one I was really going in and explaining it. That's part one. Let's see. Oh yeah, I wasn't playing with his ass.
Teacher said
He walked into it.
now because I can say too many.
That nigga worked in. He walked into it worse than Waka Flocka walked into it. But as soon as the nigga play, what you see? Faye what? Let's raise $1,000 for his letter. This nigga whole forehead and shades just look menacing as hell. Oh, you want to say some shit? All right, hold up. Let's raise this $1,000. Oh, you want to come back? Oh, okay. Why is it raise this $1,000? It could be anybody, any given time. You know what's going on. As soon as I say, if I start calling somebody by name and da-da-da-da, you know it ain't going to be too long until let's raise $1,000 about to do this. Shit, and we did it like a bitch, didn't it? And that video was fire hell. Hold on, I got to pull that up too. The video was fire hell, bro. You just got to admit, like that was one of my cleanest videos. I did that on accident. It just snowed. You know what I mean? Then the terror was like, oh, you finna do that? Oh, we fuck with you. Hold on. Hold on. 1 second, Swan. We got you. No, just watch that shit. Watch that white shit you got. Watch that one white shit you got. Oh, watch that one white shit. And then that shit snowed on the damn pole to do the damn video.
Ditch the rent payments and own your home.
I'm like, oh, hell yeah. That shit took my budget up like a bitch. I'm like, oh, hell yeah. Hold on. This shit hard as hell, boy. Nigga dragging the chair.
RASHAD JAMAL, it's time. We talk. We guys. We lords. We die.
We fall. Come on. Inside them walls that I. Why they want to be hating on me? What the hell? What I got too much shit over? fuck it. I'm gonna do it anyway.
Hold you accountable for them lies you talk. You innocent for real. I hope you get your pick. I went around you to know what you did, but that ain't gonna stop me from talking to Shell. But I heard you say you would murder some kids and witness your when you hurting your feelings. All the women you refer to as bitches, just cause they weren't trying to work with polygamy, tearing them down. Came from a woman, got a neck when I came from a woman. See the so-called black man placed a woman beneath it, he changed our women. Came from a woman, got our name and our game from a woman. See the so-called black man placed a woman beneath it, he changed our women. To the melanin dominant women, I promise you will not remain where we put you. See they got a little information, get the drip and make up in their brain that they got.
Oh God.
See through the game they spit, cover up for all the shame that they hide.
Yep.
Niggas wanna be Dr. Melakasi York, but they wanna get
That's lethal. To have receipts is lethal. That's lethal. Really trying, like, y'all really trying to be bro, and bro's still here. Trying to act like you on some free Dr. York shit. No, you wasn't, bro. You was on some, bro, we ain't never gonna hear from them again. You know what I mean? So let me teach they shit. Let me try to be Dr. York shit. Come on, dog. Receipts. I'm the receipt man. You know that.
ain't like the guy. Somebody said I was Dr. Melakasi York.
And I put stuff from his, I put shit from the story post in there. Bro, niggas don't be knowing what they walking up on. Cause this wasn't even gonna be the end. I told you, I could have took that shit all the way through 2025. Shit would have made world news. He ran. So don't even act like it's like that. His ass ran. This his shit. And you say Dr. York your father, but you have not put $1 on his books in jail. You have not put $1 towards his appeal fees. You ain't wrote him one letter. You don't even allow him to speak. Oh, what the fuck? Anyway, it's so crazy I have to revisit this delusional ass shit. Never said Dr. York was my dad. Never, ever, ever said Dr. York is my dad. So then here came the delusional people. But you got a song. You got that one song. You got the one song called Do. I'm going to show y'all what they were talking about. And then I'm going to show y'all how they done. Show y'all how they can't even hear.
Teacher saying, I don't want to scare you now because I can say too many things that connect people go crazy.
Exactly.
Teacher saying,
all right. Faise One. I just be vibing. Like, I ain't even tripping. Like, why nigga be running this shit? I just be like, let's vibe. Let's do it. I ain't even vibing. All right. This what they were tripping on. A song called Pops.
Cause who the hell gonna get us out of this one? Sometimes I just feel like the hell with this entire mission. How did they forget about the one that gave us back our vision? I'm just like, hell nah, I'll be down and let you die in prison. All that divine wisdom. Without you and my mama, I know that I'ma be on my own. Baba, I'm holding on.
So this is where they get it fucked up in their mind. They hear me say without you and my mama, so they think I'm calling him my dad. I'm gonna show you how they stupid. Watch. Keep listening.
Tied to the rope, I'm strong. I hope they know it's on. Baba, I'm holding on. Tied to that rope, I'm strong. Without you and my mama, yeah.
All right, let's start there. First of all, everybody called him Baba. So Baba is like saying father. Also in certain communities, Baba is somebody who has a high position, a high seat, if you understand. Okay? So damn near everybody was calling him that. Damn near everybody was calling him Pops. Damn near everybody was calling him they father. I ain't even say, Baba, you're my actual biological father. Like, some niggas call him they father. Right? So watch this.
And I say pop, cause my pop, I stood at the womb and took that walk. They took our land and hurt my heart. I'm just like, woman, why you crying? She just held my hand cause she couldn't stop. They don't understand, they broke our family up and family all we got. And now look out at the world and I see why we needed him. We got all these impersonators.
So we got all these impersonators trying to kick it, but bitch, ain't nobody succeeded him. Everybody in this frame know who he is. Everybody in this frame got a problem with him. Watch.
They trying to kick it, but bitch, ain't nobody succeeded him. He the reason I sway by the hood with the killers, gorillas, and fetal jail. He the reason I treat out the window with kindness. Just could have got us. I see it now. See, right now, to get my parents away.
So that line right there, okay, listen.
See, right now, to get my parents away.
I'm going to slow it down because it's sped up.
My mama made it so I now to get my see it now. See, right now, to get my parents away.
The line is, if right now just gave my parents the way, And Dr. Malachi York is the one who brought everybody right knowledge. How am I saying Malachi York is my biological father or one of my parents? You get what I'm saying? No. Everybody know who pay attention. Bodie is my father. I got a song called Dungeon Cry. The man who talking on the song is my dad. So again, all I'm asking y'all is those of y'all who like people who might still be blind. I gotta write a book. Because this is what Pops used to have to do. Does Dr. York deny he's Imam Isa or hide the fact he's Imam Isa? He used to have to write shit like that because niggas be saying stupid shit. So ask yourself this question. Does Faise One say Malachi York is his father? I'm telling you right now, no. I'm also telling you, you go back throughout the history of all the stuff I done put out and you'll see that I don't. The teachings I did with Young Elder, we both talked about my dad as Bodie. You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. So that's him. But remember, he's supposed to be divine insight. So even if somebody gave him misinformation, he was supposed to be like, think. That's misinformation. That's how he's supposed to be able to do if he divine insight. So this first one is wrong. That's a lie. Then he speaks lies already. You have not put $1 on his books in jail. Somebody sent $500,000 and they sent it back. You don't know what you're talking about. Somebody paid his restitution up and more, and they rejected it and sent it back. Let's get that clear. Secondly, when it was positioned to Dr. Malachi York that I send money to help whatever is going on, he said, I'm not looking. Can I play it? No, I can't play it. I have to remember this ain't. I could play it though. But the people who heard it, right, where Dr. Malachi York explicitly stated to me, I'm not looking for people to send me money. Tell him if he has money, take that money and put it into his career. Take that money and get a better video, get better production to get himself out there big enough. Maybe I think I might be able to pull out the transcript. I do have a transcript. I know I can do that. Because if anything, people could be like, he lying. I'd rather them be like, he lying than to be like, they'll be able to say that I actually put out the audio. You see what I'm saying? So I don't give a damn about motherfuckers say I'm lying. At least they can see the transcript still. Okay? I'd rather do that and they say I'm lying. Then I put the audio out and then they try to act like they think I'm lying, but they know I ain't lying. And then they try to say it was AI. You see what I'm saying? I don't give a damn about none of that. What's the book at? Oh, I got to shut this down because that's freezing. Okay. So which one it was? I think it was Relax. It might be the Relax book. Somebody said they bear witness. I don't know how you bear witness unless somebody like lets you hear that shit they weren't supposed to. I don't think you were there. Another thing about me, I'm not gonna let y'all sit here and bear false witness. So y'all should know that. If you weren't there, I'm gonna be like, how? When you was there? Because I only show that to people in person. All right, where is that? Where to Relax at? That shit probably right in my face. Do you see the Relax scroll? Okay, it might be it. I don't really look like that though. Yes. Where? Yeah, it is. Right there. Over there? That label retarded as hell. I know I can't be the only one who used to get pissed off at Dora. Over there? No, Dora. The fuck? Right there. You talk about over there? I wanted to hop in that TV, bro. I don't hate women, but I did want to fight Dora. I did. I don't give a damn. This in my book. Remember, I say that Dr. York is my dad, right? Okay. I been wrote this book before this debacle. Okay. He's a fucking liar. Y'all can believe this man y'all want to. This nigga's a fucking habitual narcissistic ass liar. And y'all follow that. This is in my book before the encounter with RASHAD Jamal at the crossroad. Anonymous. I put anonymous because I felt like it. It's Iris Hamilton. Anonymous. I want to ask you a question. You know, Bodie? You remember the brother Bodie? The one that can't see? Here's how Dr. York came on. Yeah, yes, with the bad eyes. Yeah, his son, he called himself Faise One. His name is Omari, and he like to rap about your doctrine and free and clearing up your name. And so he's popular all over the internet and everywhere and stuff like that. And he wanted me to ask you a question. So firstly, that part isn't true. I didn't want her to ask him shit. I just reached out to her and I asked her, and I have proof of that. I asked her, how is Pops? I said, what's the good news on Pops? She said, I'm sitting here talking to him now. Quick, ask me a question. That's how that came about. So no, I didn't say, can you ask him a question for me? I asked about the good news concerning him. Now, I'm not upset that she did this because it was all a part of it. I just want to make sure that's clear. I ain't say, hey, can you ask Pop a question? So she said, quick, ask. And then I asked what it would require for him to be helped in that moment. So he said, what's the main thing that requires focus to help you the most right now that he can help with, you know? Right. And Dr. Yo said, like I told y'all, the help you need is where? At the end of your arm. Don't start thinking you can trust this company or trust that person or trust that. If you're into the music, don't just be the voice. Learn to do what the engineer's doing. Learn a musical instrument. Learn music. Don't just be the person who writes a nice rap and knows how to rap, but you got to depend on the DJ to get the pitch and stuff together. Right? I think he might have said beats too. I listened to it again recently. He might have said beats, not pitch. Get the pitch and stuff together, right? I'm just saying it there because either pitch or beats, either one. Learn how to do the whole thing yourself. And then, and it was interesting because he was finding the words. He said, so you what's the word? Self what? Self-sustaining. Tell him that's what he do. And then make sure because of that, all across all the communities in London and every place else, everybody knows who he is. I don't think he said else. No, I'm just thinking. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I don't think he said pitch. I think he said beats. And I don't think he said else. I remember saying every place. In every place, London and every place, everybody knows who he is. So that everybody's on his website pumping up for him, even if you don't listen to his music because you don't like rap. But at least you're backing him. Remember Tabitha Jet said, we don't listen to rap. I don't like rap. But she hadn't understood that Pops had already said this to Iris. Right? Even if you don't, and I know I put that there for a reason. Even if you don't like his music, you're still backing him. This is him saying this. You don't have to believe me. I'm just telling you. And I got people who were here that heard the audio. All right? And the people that come to when we gather again, y'all are going to hear the audio. All right? So you can understand how these people been dealing with me and how Malachi dealt with me. You see the difference? That brother who you just mentioned, who's what's the name son? Faise One. Okay, so right now, according to this, is it being said in my book that I'm Dr. York's son? Does it say, remember your son, Faise? Or does it say, remember Bodie? The brother Bodie? His son is Faise One. Okay, the nigga RASHAD Jamal full of shit. I never said that. They just uncultured. They don't know what Pops is, Baba is. They don't come from that. And I never claimed to be. Now, I don't care if it's Uma, whoever said that. I never claimed that. That's a lie. Dr. York says what? That brother you just mentioned, who is what's the name, son? Faise One. He's getting out there, reaching the people in the hip hop world. This is his words now, and some of y'all heard it. Yeah, Faise One, he want to donate money. And now this is cut, by the way. This part doesn't automatically go into this part. There's a longer audio. I just took the shorter audio to keep on, but he go into Cat Williams, Music Soul Child, not Charleston White, Charlamagne the Guy. He talking about them, and he mentioned 21 Savage and all kind of stuff. So yeah, it was right on point. Yeah, this is Iris speaking again. Yeah, Faise One, he want to donate money because he got a lot of following and stuff too. And he just want to know where you want him to help. I never said anything about money. She, again, did some shit she did. I didn't say nothing about, yo, ask him, do we need money? That was her because they were talking about me supporting in Liberia and as opposed to the Williams and Williams shit. And I'm like, listen, I don't know if Pops won't eat with any of that, right? So I did speak about that, but I never asked her to ask him that. So she did this because she was with the Liberia team. I remember that. So she was saying that's what Pop wanted the money sent. So I think she was trying to get him to say that. So watch what he says. Where you want him to help. And his rap is mostly speaking about your doctrine and clearing your name. He be going off on people with, like, he said, now, if he has money, I'm not looking for people to donate money. That's his words. Right hand to the Most High. I wouldn't lie. Those are his words. Now, if he has money, I'm not looking for people to donate money. I'm saying it exactly how he says it. Right? She said, He said, take that money and tell him I said, use that money to get a better video. Now, this is Pops talking. Y'all know people talk about how, like, my videos, I wasn't even putting a lot of money into the videos. You see what I'm saying? This Pops saying it. So when nobody that said, you need better videos, that caused me to get, Pops been said it. It's been a part of my plan to get better production. And not just because he said it, but mainly because he specifically said that shit. This book written damn near a year ago. All right, watch. Now, how would Pops know that I need better video? You got to ask him. Now, if he has money, because remember he said, that brother you just mentioned, he's getting out there reaching the people in the hip-hop world. He know who Faise One is. Right? That means Pops somewhere sitting looking at my videos on, you like, mid. Bro sitting there looking at my videos on, this mid. Could be better. That's Pops, though. All right, watch. If he has money, he said, I'm not looking for people to donate money. So all the people who be saying that, this him saying this. Take that money and tell him I said, use that money to get a better video. She said, okay. He said, get better production so he can get himself out there big enough because he's helping to spin that message. Right? She said, She ain't saying much of nothing now. Right? Get out there and reach other rappers and tell them, don't be afraid to pop that right knowledge. Them ain't my words. Yo, that's how he said it. That's how he said it. Get out there and reach other rappers and tell them, don't be afraid to pop that right knowledge. Don't be afraid, because then nobody can stop it. He rapping right there. Right? She said, He said, once there's enough of them out there kicking it, they can't stop it. They can always do it when there's one or two people. They can isolate you. So y'all ask me this question. Am I doing what's in alignment with what Pops won't done? Or should I listen to these other people, these irrelevant characters who are saying, stop coming for these people, stop calling them out, stop calling out the rappers, stop talking to people like 21 Savage, who knows he's a Nawabi and knows he turned away on us, his back on us. He used to be our brother, used to be right there playing in the sand with me. Stop calling everybody the music soul child, rest of them, Andy Ari, Erykah Badu, asking them where they are. Am I doing what is in alignment with what he's saying? Or should I listen to them and just stop? Now, this came years after I already put out the works to do this. He was basically saying, keep doing what you're doing. You with me? And didn't ask for a dime. It's the purpose of all this. Once there's enough of them out there kicking it, they can't stop it. They can always do it when there's one or two people. They can isolate you. Interestingly enough, I had a song called No Vote that I had written where I said, you can't single me out when it's many me. I had already wrote the song, recorded it, and then this is what he said to me. When there's one or two people, they can isolate you. I'm like, this man is unbelievable, I promise. Right? She said, He said, he said, when you get a bunch of rappers all doing it, because they, believe you me, they tried to stop hip hop because they couldn't control it. She said, right. He said, and hip hop whipped their ass. Those of y'all who heard the audio know he said it just like that. I didn't put no word in his mouth. I ain't take nothing out. If I'm trying to make this seem like some divine message, why would I add that? You know what I'm saying? If I'm trying to make it seem that my son, tell him this. Then that nigga said they tried to stop hip hop and hip hop whipped their ass. Right? He said, and now look at it. He said, all them guys out there need to be woke up. And back to tell them I appreciate the thought of the money. I've never been a money person. Put that money into your career to help push you further so you can help get the message to the world. Because our people are waking up fast and they're walking around in circles because they don't know where to go. All right, the reformer. You with me? The word comes through during the blue light motion and I'm able to hear his actual voice with my own ears. What more do you need to see to know that I am not driving? I surrendered my will to the will of divine long ago. Many people have asked me over the years the question of how I am able to be so patient and poised and composed throughout this mission of mine, which is a mission of ours. The answer, I surrendered. Simple as stated. Yet, I elaborate with the intention of leading others who feel they too have great purpose in this realm. All right? So what does it say? I spoke out loud. I said I did not have the want to try to have autonomy over things that I didn't even understand. You're dealing with something different because I can't drive this. I'm limited here. So why would I want to drive? You know what I mean? So yeah, I was supposed to so that's the relaxed scroll. I'm trying to see if there was anything else I spoke on about that. Anyway, that's the relaxed scroll. So you see I was speaking on what happened with that. I put the transcript in there. So let's go back to what was said. What was said? All right. First lie. You said you Dr. York's father. I just showed y'all 2 different ways you can see that I'm not saying that I'm Dr. York's son. Never have I ever said that. Not since I was not before the internet did I say that. I've always been proud of who my dad is. All right? So I don't know what's wrong with people. They feel like they got to do shit like that. I never needed to say Dr. York was my dad for people to think I was great. I'm great by my damn self. My dad is great by him damn self. And Pops is great by himself. You know what I'm saying? I took the damn out just so it could be explicit respect. Okay? We great by ourselves. I didn't need to claim anything that wasn't true. So no, again, on record, Dr. York is not my biological, not that I know of. I'm going to add that in there. I know I'm a lot more like my dad. You understand? I look like my dad, all this other stuff. That's my father biologically. Okay? Now, there may be deeper sciences to it, how I got here and all that. But what I know is that's my biological father. Okay. So Dr. York is not my biological father. Let's get that on record. I never said he was. That's a lie. You have not put $1 on his books in jail. Did I not show y'all right there where even when it was being asked about me putting money anywhere towards him, what he said? I'm not looking for people to donate money. This nigga is not divine insight because he would have known all of this. You see what I'm saying? He is not channeling shit from the ethers because he would have known not only who he was speaking on, why you shouldn't speak on me negatively. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it comes to we got time to show that you're a liar. So now you just expose oneself. And his whole thing was, we about to expose you. And everything that he said came back to bite him. You cannot expose green light. You can't defeat green light, but with green light. Green light will only merge and become stronger. So if you want to defeat us, come help us be stronger. Use green light. It's right there. It's always, it ain't never far. You see what I'm saying? You see, what you'll also see is vivo, which means life, living. Okay? Went from red to what in the video? Okay. You'll also see the red under the what? The green, defy gravity. Oh, okay. You don't understand? So, you ain't wrote on one letter. Should I? Oh, fuck that. I ain't showing it. I ain't even going into all of that. All I'm going to say is that's a lie. That's a lie. But that's for, I don't have to, that's a lie. The first letter I wrote to Dr. Malachi York, I was 9 years old. I was 9 years old. So he said, you ain't wrote him one letter. I'm telling you, the first letter I wrote, I was 9. I was in Athens, Georgia. I wrote it on construction paper. Okay? A whole 2-3 pages. I filled it up with words. So the one is already canceled out. This is a liar. You don't allow him to speak on your platforms, what I think the whole message said. You don't even allow him to speak on your platforms, first of all. Not just anybody. How RKs can call RASHAD JAMAL and talk to RASHAD JAMAL. He's not an enemy of the state or none of that. Not just anybody can call Dr. York. Not just anybody can write Dr. York. Sometimes they'll shut down whether or not he can be written and all of this stuff. So you can't just get a call. He has to put you on a list. Let's start there. So it ain't no, he can speak on my platform. Also, he's 80 years old. He don't give a damn about coming to speak on somebody's platform for some views to keep his followers entertained on the internet. He's fighting to get out of prison. You are not the same. He's been in there 22 years and ain't cried about it. He stood tall through the whole shit. Stood tall through the whole thing. And still fighting to get out. You're facing 16 years. May not have to do all of those 16 years. They hit him with 135 years. He had land to take. He didn't even have a house for them to seize. Y'all are not in the same boat. You're not in the same boat. People from every religion made books and TV shows and documentaries mocking his situation from the day that he went in. You might have a TikToker or a nigga with 100 followers talking shit about you. Y'all not in the same boat. Everywhere he turned, there were people tearing him down. Didn't have any information on his case whatsoever, but they said he was guilty. And even you yourself said, you talk about me, but Dr. York pled guilty. He pled guilty, as if that meant he was guilty. You yourself attacked him, but said you got love for Dr. York. Then you would never said nothing like that. And all of this whole time, even when Shells came on here, when the baby's mother came on here, when Darshell came on here, has anybody witnessed me ever say he did that shit? He's guilty. Or that I pull on things and people and pull up stuff for people to look at themselves to deal with whether or not they will want to say this or that or the third, or just to see all sides of it. Not that you have to make a decision right then or there whether or not you know what you're talking about. Have I ever said Brother Polite was guilty? Have I ever said RASHAD JAMAL is guilty? You see what I'm saying? But these people will mock Dr. Melakazi York as if he's guilty, and all of the presumption of innocence is just wiped away. I didn't come at RASHAD JAMAL for what he was charged with, right? I challenged RASHAD JAMAL not only on the teachings that he gave, because y'all had some of the students come on here, they were young brothers. And you heard what the hell we was dealing with. And that is what I'm talking about. How many young people are blind that blindly follow him and repeat his foolishness? That's what I was dealing with. And I challenged anybody to stand there with me scientifically, and they got mad at me because they didn't understand what they were talking about. That's what we dealing with. You with me? So all of this is fake. All that's a lie. Never called Dr. York my dad. That's a lie. The money thing, he said, don't send money. So that's a lie. All the appeal shit, that's a lie. Because that ain't even what he focused on. You ain't wrote him one letter. That's a lie. I've written multiple letters. You don't even allow him to speak on your platforms. That's a lie. I'm not on the speaking list. So that had nothing to do with my allowing. He has to request it, or sometimes they'll give him the people he can speak to. They'll pick out of his family who he can talk to, or his wives. So most times he's not even able to say, I want to talk to this person. So all this is a little boy shit. You don't know what you're dealing with. I just want to get that clear. So far, RASHAD JAMAL, does he speak truth? No. And I'll show you receipts. He doesn't. So that is what we call a false prophet, false messenger, or a messenger of amber light. You speak bad light. You're a liar. You're not of the true light. So test every spirit is what I just said. So that's what this whole letter is. Testing the spirit.
Son, I never claimed that he lied. I'm just here to remind people.
Exactly.
Dr. Melakazi brain that they got. We can see through the game they spit. Cover up for all the shame that they hide.
Come on.
I said I was Dr. Malachi, your son. I never claimed that he lied. I'm just here to remind people how that 9 either really came out the side. They just want to be right, they got it. You should know what that mean with a name like Rashad.
Come on.
Pops told me the people waking up and circumambulating, they gotta find the right.
That's real true. I say, Pops told me the people waking up and circumambulating. Circumambulation is walking in circles. Everything I'm saying in here is true. And I just showed y'all the transcript. Everything I'm saying is true. What did I say about RASHAD JAMAL that was a lie? The thing that they thought was a lie was because they have lack of understanding of lingo. I said he never screamed Free Dr. York. He wasn't screaming Free Dr. York. These motherfuckers still sending me that empty ass clip of somebody video put together one of my songs they didn't listen all the way to because they got it off my Instagram video. They sent me one video of him saying Free Dr. York. When did I ever say Free Dr. York is what suffices? I wrote a letter to Farrakhan. I said, why you just gonna say Malachi's name and leave him in there? Say his name one time. That's not screaming Free Dr. York. When we say, excuse me, because I know what we say. We the ones who say it, especially Atlanta. When we say we screaming free this person, screaming free that person, that means we're involved with the movement, or we are going to make sure that it's important for people to know that they get out. We don't rock with the fact that they in there. We want them to come home. And that's a part of niggas put free Dr. York. They'll put free Young Thug in they what you call it, in a bio. They walk around with free Young Thug shirts. It wasn't about whether he said it. That's what you're not understanding that. I don't care about people saying it. It's Nuwapian saying there's a whole Help Free Dr. York chat. Y'all so out of it. Y'all are not in tune. There's a whole Help Free Dr. York chat for the people who close enough to know what they're talking about. Because this person clearly don't. Have I not lit that chat on fire multiple times? And it's full of Nuwabians and Sabians. Have I not lit that chat on fire multiple times about how they don't care about getting him out? How they more focused on money and all this other stuff. So no, we know. I never made a song that said RASHAD JAMAL has never ever in his life said the words Free Dr. York. Bro, saying Free Dr. York and screaming Free Dr. York are two different things. You out of the loop. You don't know what you're talking about. So I didn't understand that. I didn't even know what the purpose of the video was. I watched the video multiple times back. I didn't get to the millions started commenting what the purpose of the video was. Oh, they think that I'm saying he never said Free Dr. York? Not only do I know that he said Free Dr. York, I also know that when it came to him talking about and teaching Dr. York, he told people they weren't advanced enough to learn what Dr. York taught. He said, y'all ain't on that level. And he put him, Young Pharaoh, and Dr. York on the same level. I was there to witness that. He said them people weren't ready they weren't advanced enough to hear it. So which one is it, RASHAD JAMAL or RASHAD JAMAL? Which one is it? It ain't about respect. Fuck your respect. You got a platform and you making money off of Dr. Malachi York name. You making money off of the teachings. You making money off this stuff. Okay, how come you ain't fighting to get them out? Fuck the respect. We don't care nothing about nobody respect to Dr. Malachi York. All of them respect him. You got to respect them. Is that what y'all think? You think this is an internet thing while somebody suffers in prison? They're an elder in prison, and you think that if somebody says Free Dr. York, now they with us? Again, I know you're clueless. The Nuwapians been saying Free Dr. York since 2002, and the majority of them don't want him out. And those are his words. He said, you know, a lot of people don't want me out. He said, you know, a lot of people don't want me out, son. He was talking to, I think it was Basil. He said, because when I come out, they know I'm going to push Wunu out. And they don't want to live it. I don't care nothing about no Free Dr. York. I'm explaining. You on here talking to me. I'm explaining to you what the song says and what it means. And you still not able to understand it. I'm sitting here explaining. Exactly, y'all. I'm sitting here explaining it to you. And you can't believe it. Because you think that one thing that they put in that video is a lie of all lies. And I'm able to show you chronically and chronologically, both, how this man lied about everything he said about Faise One. And you overlooking all of that to deal with a lingo barrier of you not understanding what Free Dr. York means when you scream it. And that is my right to reserve. When I say, why the fuck would I scream free Rashad Jamal? He wasn't screaming out free Doc. Meaning, why would I get involved in what they got going on when he clearly didn't get involved in what Pops got going on? How do y'all know that? Because still people that are Rashad Jamal students are asking me to this day, wait, so who is Dr. York? And I promise you, if Rashad Jamal was screaming free Dr. York, when nobody be asking me that question that follows him, y'all wouldn't be asking me that. Y'all wouldn't be asking me about his teachings and what it. So then you have to answer this question, Rashad. Which one is it? Either you never heard a Dr. York lecture, as he says, you never read a Dr. York book, as he says, or you have, and you're telling people they're not advanced enough to understand that information. So if Rashad Jamal, let's see if he lied about this. Rashad Jamal said he never heard a Dr. York lecture. Rashad Jamal said that if you listen, there's no problem with Rashad Jamal. I can't have a problem with him. He's not problematic. He's only problematic to y'all because y'all are believers of him. I don't have a problem. He's not a problem of mine. If he were a problem, we'll handle it another way. The fact that he's a problem of y'all and y'all are claiming y'all want to ascend, I intervened. And I showed y'all in real time. And you're still seeing it. You're still seeing it. Yet you're not able to pay attention to what I'm saying. You think it's coming from a hateful place. Let's deal with it truthfully. If Rashad Jamal never read a Dr. York lecture or listened to a Dr. York lecture or read a Dr. York book according to what he says, then how could he tell people that they weren't on the level of Dr. Melakazi York to be able to hear it? You see what I'm saying? It ain't about good points. You think this is an internet game. It ain't about good points. The devil got good points. You didn't read the scriptures? The devil know the scripture. It ain't about good points. It's about what? People saying they want to complete a transformation. And they're going to these people to find light. And you have some who are bringing the good light, and you got some who are bringing the amber light. And all I'm telling, because I let you up too much to focus. You have to come up here, by the way. I don't allow people to comment bang. You got to come up here and speak to me tone to tone. So if you want to keep speaking, I'm going to let you come up. We have to talk like that, though, face to face. We can't talk in the comments. You got to come up here with us. You understand that? People want the truth. That's all they want. So y'all was seeking truth. Don't tell me you don't need leaders. Y'all follow these people. Don't tell me all the truth come within and y'all regurgitate what they say. Then that's not within. The universe is that finite. All of you who believe in infinity. The divine is that simple that when you go within, you find the same thing that the next man found. And all of y'all individual experiences will be different and have been different since the beginning of time. So all y'all went in and found the same definition for words. All of y'all went in and found the same thing to call each other reflections. None of y'all went in and learned Arabic. Who went inside themselves and learned Arabic? Who went inside themselves and learned Hebrew or Hebrew? Who went inside themselves and learned Nuwapic? He been talking to y'all this whole time and never went inside himself and brought y'all a new language so that you don't have to speak the same spell language that they say English is. So they've been still using the same English words they say was a part of it, but these people literally have a connection to the Most High or divine, and they were one of the creators of the cosmos. But all they got is what? English. Dr. Melakazi York brought Nuwapic. Ancient Egyptian language revitalized in real time. We spoke tones that we were able to resonate with. Dr. Melakazi York speaks 19 languages. And with the Sunnis and all the rest of the people were trying to come against him, saying that he just became a Muslim. And he was like, okay, if I just became a Muslim, how I know more about Islam than y'all? How do I speak more languages than y'all? How do I speak the dialects? How do I understand Arabic and y'all don't understand Arabic? If I just became a Muslim over in Brooklyn or Boston or It shut him down. Like, damn. Yeah, how does he have a translation of Al-Quran? If you ask him, what have I done? I'll give you one thing, and you can bear witness to this. I brought you to my live. I'm relevant enough that you're here asking me that. You need more? I pulled you from whatever corner of the universe you were on. I pulled you right here to the center. I did that. Are you grateful? You don't have to be. What else you want to know? I did enough that you're here talking to me, attempting to ask things and get answers. And not even really attempting, you're asking and getting your answers. I did that. If I'm not worthy, if I've done no worthy works, why are you here? Why are you here? You've never seen me on 19 Keys live. You never seen me on Umar Johnson live. You never seen me on RASHAD Jamal live. You never seen me in there asking them questions about what have they done. Because I'm too busy with what I'm doing. How many people in here were doing a thing, you found me, and now you're no longer doing that thing? And that thing was negative. It wasn't helping you. How many people? You don't have to say what it was. How many people change their life just me speaking? You got people who follow these spiritual people, they still smoke weed. I'm not bashing people who smoke weed. I'm saying they still smoke weed. Why? Because their spiritual leaders still smoke weed. So their spiritual leaders have a habit that they'll get on live and partake in. So how they going to be like, y'all got to stop smoking because it's spiking your dopamine and you're not going to be able to activate the crown. It's causing you to be content with your current situation. And that's not going to allow for you to ascend. Because you have to deal with whatever it is you're using the weed to cloak in order to truly ascend. Huh? Okay. I got plenty messages after March of this year of people saying, yo, I finally stopped smoking. When you put out that message, I stopped. Thank you. Somebody did a video, was like, yo, thank you, Faise One. All these leaders I've been trying to stop, and I couldn't stop. But thank you for being the reason I stopped smoking. I no longer smoke. All right? What have I done? Again, we can go on, we can be on and on and on. I could go on and on and on about your works. We'll be all day. What have I done? What have you done? What have you done? You asking the wrong question. You should be like, what have I done? That what you need to type. What have I done? Type it out. What have I done? You want to know what my response will be to you? I don't know. You tell me. I don't know. I'm not on your live. I'm not on your page. It ain't reached the center, whatever you doing. You understand that? So, again, if you're here, I've done enough. Because you think you should be here. I hope you think you should be here. I don't think I'll be flattered you think I'm that powerful that I can just pull you against your will. You must have seen me live and clicked it, unless it just pops up on your phone without your permission. But you must think that whatever I'm saying is important enough for you to be here. I've done that for you. And your conflict, your dilemma is you're looking for me to do that. You're looking for RASHAD Jamal. You're looking for any of these people to do that as opposed to understanding that it needs to be done. You need to be right there in the center, which is right here. Oh, okay. Boom.
I acknowledge they looked up to you because they thought you knew the truth till Faise got it slide. I've been on this since a preteen still.
There go me at 10, 11 years old. You see that back there? That's Isis's wing. You see that back there? Those are the sigils, the hieroglyphs. This is me with my brothers at one of the buildings the mirror, the temple, the pyramid. What happened when we go and look at RASHAD Jamal as a child? Do we see him surrounded by the stuff he was talking about recently that he just learned? Do we see him speaking on those things? What was he doing? Where was he? Is this in him, or did he just learn from people that were speaking it and try to make it seem as though it is? What was he doing? You see what I'm saying? So let me say, I've been on this as a preteen. And I've been on this my whole life. I'm just saying you'll find me on the web since a preteen. Speaking this. But he was trying to make it seem like I was trying to be him. You see the difference? All right, y'all better pay attention.
Right knowledge, they looked up to you because they thought you knew the truth till Faise got it slide. I've been on this since a preteen. Still think I just do it for fame.
Exactly. Tell him, boy. You don't see how he looked down when he said that shit?
I've been on this since a preteen. Still think I just do it for fame. How could I?
Come on. I was there. I was there before they destroyed this. I was there before the pylons fell. You think I'm doing it for fame and clout and whatever the fuck they want to call it? How about this? Yeah, it is for fame. Yeah, it is for clout. Yeah, it is for attention. Because all of that will be a part of it when we destroy the illusions. People are going to know. That's fame. People are going to come. That's clout. People are going to watch and keep watch. They're going to stay up. That's attention. It's just not how you're used to it. All this is us. This is our shit. Fuck, Young Pharaoh wasn't nowhere around this. Nature Boy wasn't nowhere around this. Brother Polite wasn't even here. Umar Johnson wasn't here. I was there. And all them acres back there, the pyramids, everything, I saw with my own eyes. Y'all niggas knew. Y'all knew. You never stood around a pyramid. You can't tell me about the electromagnetic effect it has on you that you think is spiritual. I was there to witness this. See that? Say AEO. Ancient Egyptian order. My Umi is in the ancient Egyptian order. My parents in the ancient Egyptian order. We don't know where these people came from. All right, let's deal with it.
Speak on the government that took our land. You hear me crying from the pain, cloudy eyes. Still think I just do it for fame. How could I? Speak on the government that took our land. You
say, how could I? Because he called me a government agent. I'm showing this. I'm like, listen, I've been on this since a preteen.
You could they thought you knew the truth till Faise got it slide. I've been on this since a preteen. Still think I just do it for fame. How?
Hey, Latrell, I don't fuck with you. You gotta go.
How could I? Speak on the government. Been on this since a preteen. Still think I just do it for fame. How could I? Speak on the government that took our...
So the question is, how could I become the government that took our land? How could I become the government that took our land? I was there. This is our land. You've never seen anything like this and may never see anything like this again. See the homes? Where everybody used to be learning at? Where the stage at? I think this is stage right here. Right? Teachings, food. Everybody could sit and eat. The children could play in the sand. That's where I used to be at. All in the sand. Right? Where the bridge at? Here you go. Where? Let me see what. Yep, here go the bridge. I used to play over here. They had the pharaohs. Where the Sphinx? Shouldn't be far from there. Right? I think the Sphinx right here. You know what I'm saying? So listen, this was amazing. This was a beautiful place. So I'm asking, like, how could I become the government that took this? And I talk about this and speak highly of it. All the government agents speak against Pops. I ain't gonna say too much. I ain't gonna say too much. All the ones who got hit with the government, they talk against Pops or they act like they are him so that more attention can be brought away from him. Listen, the government wouldn't allow you to uplift him. If I was working with them, that'll go against. I went, and then what are they paying me that I'm doing fundraisers every damn day? What are they paying me that the money comes from the books and the music? The government not paying his worker? Big Brother not paying me? You see what I'm saying? So that's a lie. The government agent thing is a lie. It doesn't even add up. It makes more sense that you would be an agent than I am. You get what I'm saying? If I'm an agent, then how am I more consistent throughout time? You find me, the first thing you find of me on the web is this. We find you, first things we find is you promoting gang banging and killing and sex and all kind of shit that the devils is promoting. Some don't add up, does it? All right, let's keep listening.
Speak on the government that took our land. You
see where it says Holy Land too? For those of y'all who didn't catch
government that took our land.
Welcome to the Holy Land. Those who flew over could help see that. Because you know they would fly over all the time. They used to try to intimidate us and fly real low, they helicopters and stuff.
You hear me crying from the pain, cloudy eye.
How many people been on live and I be talking about like Tom Ray or Dr. York or whatever, and I just break down crying. Y'all remember that? Remember that time we was in the blue light and I was walking around in circles and the blue light was on and I'm talking about how he beat the game and I just dropped to my knees. And I'm crying. Like, you can't make it up. Or when I was on live and they were talking shit and I spoke more about it, explained, and then I just, with this situation after it happened, I cried, broke down and cried. You hear the pain when Omari cries. You can hear the pain. So that's a part of my script. to literally show in real time and let it happen. I don't end the live when I cry. I let you hear it. Because it's a part of it.
You hear me crying from the pain, cloudy eyes, tears dropping while RASHAD Jamal telling people they were not advancing enough to hear.
Come on, exactly. He was telling people they weren't advancing enough to hear it. I'm crying about this shit so people can understand what it is. He telling people they weren't advanced enough to understand who Dr. York is or learn about it. They ain't on that level. You took his information, didn't understand it, so you took the crumbs of the bread loaves and gave it to these people, and you dare tell them they not on that. Then how come everybody who found me were on the level to be able to receive it? Dr. Melakazi York's tones can reach anybody. This is a liar. Watch.
Whole time just regurgitating every word he's saying. Not researching Nathan, but he telling the people I work for Satan. While he yelling deceitful, perverted statements. You are not a revolutionary, less a revolutionary. Would mean you walking in circles. Well, obviously, because your followers heard you and thought you would lead them up out of them hearses. But how are they worse than they started? I ask question, they barking. They don't know the most simple ass science like carbon. Like literally everybody in their mama got carbon. And I blame Bobby, him and the same guy that couldn't explain why he used to be catching rides to Tom Ray to try to get in that bright knowledge.
Yes, Bobby Hemmett used to be trying to come to Tom Ray too. Oh, I'm going to tell it all. Oh, I'm going to tell it all. Oh, I'm going to tell it all. You don't hear the man speaking? He's spitting, but he's speaking too. They thought you were going to lead them up out. What they say? They don't understand the most simple ass science like carbon. You did these people a disservice. Not for, y'all are not, what's the name of my thing, y'all? What's the name of my university? What's the name? What's the name of this thing I'm doing? You see me everywhere, speaking to everybody. What do we call ourselves? You can't even say Nuwapians. That's not my thing. That's Malachi word. Carbonation is what you call it thing. That's Elitrio thing. That's Nature Boy. That's not me. Look at what I'm saying to you. I don't have no cult. I don't have no shit people join. I have formulas. They can use them if they want. All right, cool.
This is the main problem. They lie that they followers pick up the same vibes.
That's a fact. I say this is the main problem. Not RASHAD Jamal. The fact that the people who follow you pick up that same amber light. I said they lied and they followers pick up the same vibe. Listen.
The main problem, they lie that they followers pick up the same vibe. So they probably should have became 5% is to make 5% of the sense that they stay trying to make now, but they ain't sound. RASHAD Jamal know why he got it all, but he got his chest up, steady talking. 2025, let's just get them all in a row. With the side not by, but throw at these niggas quick cut. West Coast, Billy Carson reload. RASHAD Jamal, it's time. We talk, we guys, we lords, we die, we fall. It's not because you inside them walls that I held you accountable for them lies you told. Say you wanted the 23 elders, tell us what is your intergalactic name?
Because I want to know. Because I want to know. You're one of the 23 elders? What is your intergalactic name? There are different names for different people at different points wherever they are. When you're outside of the Earth's atmosphere, what do your brothers call you? I want to know. Ask the followers of RASHAD Jamal, what is his intergalactic name? Ask the followers of RASHAD Jamal, does Malachi Z. York teach about, explicitly, in the Holy Tablets, the 23 elders? Ask. Listen, I don't have to do nothing but go to, God, I know Arcade's got that interview somewhere. Arcade RASHAD Jamal. It ain't hard to do. All you gotta do is pull up what they say, and I'll show you the liars. It was God's plan to show you the liar. I'll show you. Where is that?
But you do have a higher power above us that we are a reflection of this power, right? So this power work is our actual kingdom of spirit. Who's negative energy? This negative energy has to place on. Instead of thinking about my stuff, instead of thinking about my stuff. I mean, thank you for using expression. Bring so a discord between me and the great Dr. Malachi Z. York.
All right, let's do it.
And, you know, with the great movement he had in Georgia, how you feel about people telling you, like, you stole information about it from him?
Well, first let me just start by saying, free Dr. York, to help me free myself. I have nothing but respect for Dr. York. I always had and always will. I'm not going to never let nobody, on the internet that, in their lower self, try to bring so a discord between me and the great Dr. Malachi Z. York. But I think a lot of people have to understand the spiritual aspect of it. Dr. York is a part of the original 23 sciences of the cosmos, and so am I, though.
See how he said, and so am I, though? All right, how is Dr. York one? How is Dr. York a part of one of the 23 sciences? How? And how are you also a part of that? You couldn't say Dr. York taught the 23 sciences science. Dr. York taught it's actually a 23, 24, 25. They stopping at 23 because they're thinking it's going to be a twist, clever spin on 24. But they're not talking about, first of all, these are not even just scientists. These are seats. These are positions. These are positions. So who sits in the 25th position? Who sits in the 24th position? Who sits in the 23rd position? You stopping at 23 seats, where are the other two? And which one stays vacant? Or oftentimes are people shifting in and out of it? You see what I'm saying? All of this was taught. So if you don't know anything about Dr. York, never heard his lecture, never read one of his books, but you're going to teach something that he taught, using the exact words that he taught, how are you going to position Dr. York in any one of these seats? And which seat? You say he's one of them. Which seat is he in? And which seat are you in? Watch what I'm telling you. It ain't hard to show you.
He take on embodiment or incarnation in this when we come to this planet. And we are only able to speak about so much at a certain time. But I've never been a Nuwabian though. I never will be, you know.
So that was another thing. I never been a Nuwabian. What is a Nuwabian? He doesn't know what a Nuwabian is. So how can he say he's never been a Nuwabian if he doesn't know what it is? The main thing here is Nuwabian in this aspect is a Nubian. You are a Nuwabian because you're Nubian. You possess the melanin dominant gene. You also say you're one of the people of the sun. Then you're a Nuwabian because you're a being of the golden disc, which is Nub. You're a new being. You call yourself one of the teachers or the scientists who came to give the message as a reminder. Then you're a prophet. That's what you call yourself. Then you're a Nuwabian because you're a Nubian or Nubian. And Ain at that point will be Aim or plural for Nubi or Nebi. You're one of the Nebiun or Nebi'im or Novum or of the nine or the Nuwabians, the representatives of the new beings or the sun. That's not hard, is it? So in all aspects of what a Nuwabian is, if I just break down a few of them, you claim to be a Nuwabian. You just never put the word on it. But you don't understand what Nuwapu is, so how are you even going to say that? Watch. Hold on, watch.
But I've never been a Nuwabian though. I never will be, you know, Anunnaki God.
He say, I never will be, you know, I'm an Anunnaki God. Okay, so you're Sumerian. Either you're Sumerian or you're claiming to be an Anunnaki God using an Anunnaki or word that ties you to Sumerian or Akkadian. So then you belong to those people who are still within the time frame of all of the stuff that happened with the fallen ones. You're an Anunnaki God by which name? Because Anubis is not an Anunnaki God, but you call yourself Anubis. So which frame are you functioning from centrally? Y'all understand that? You're Anunnaki God, meaning you're a child who came from An down to Ki. So you're a child of Anu. Or you came from the sky, extraterrestrial coming down into this plane. You're not a Nuwapian, you're an Anunnaki God, yet you just classified Dr. Melakazi York as one of those 23, and you said you're one of those two, but you're not a Nuwapian, and Malachi is a Nuwapian. I can literally sit here and we can go 3 seconds per 3 seconds, and I'll show you how everything this man says is hot air. He doesn't understand the language of what he's saying. He doesn't understand the derivatives of what he's saying, which ties into the language. Linguistically, he's clueless. Scientifically, he's clueless. Historically, he's clueless. Why? Because he's trying to repeat this. He's trying to repeat the Holy Tablets, but he doesn't understand it. Y'all get what I'm saying? So you wanted an Anunnaki God. Okay, so then which one? Are you with Enlil and them? You with Nudaman? He was like, huh? Nudaman. You with Nudaman? You with Enlil, Nudaman? You with Nusku? Huh? You with Ed? Who? Arikaga. What? Nerga. Huh? You don't know any of your family, but you're an Anunnaki God. Then tell me what the word Anunnaki means then. And why are you saying you're an Anunnaki God, but you say that we are on the planet Kai? Does he not know that the key at the end of the word Anunnaki is the planet's name? So how does he say Anunnaki as opposed to Anunnaki? It should be Anunnaki if you say we're on planet Kai. You're speaking Sumerian language, Akkadian language, but you don't understand it. Which one is it? Is it Anunnaki or Anunnaki? Are we on planet Kai or Ki? It matters because if you were reading his book, but you didn't understand how it was pronounced because you weren't around, then you wouldn't know how to pronounce that shit, would you? You don't know that Anunnaki is a story name. It's not a race. So you must be a part of that story. Then which one are you? Which of the Anunnaki? Did you come in on the Hennu or the Kabarat or the Crafts? Banu? How did you get here? All right. How many were with you? If you say anything less or more than 49, you don't know what you're talking about. Because you must have come here as a part of the groups of 50, because that's what Anunnaki gives you also. Those who came in groups of 50. If you sit and talk to the people, they ain't gonna know what you're talking about. They're gonna say, you operating in your lower frequency. Doesn't sound like it. It sounds like I'm familiar with what you're saying, and you're not familiar with it. All right, let's listen. So he says he's an Anunnaki god. Which one? They have names. You're going to use Anunnaki, you must be familiar with their names. Which one and from whence comest thou? What's your bloodline? If you're one of the Anunnaki gods, you should be able to tell me who your father and your mother are. Who is your most high? Is it Anu? Is it Anu Elion El? Is it Anu Elion El? Is it big Anu or little Anu? Is it the first, second, third, fourth, or fifth, or sixth, or seventh, or eighth, or ninth Anu? Which one? They don't know any of these answers. I can't wait. I'll tell you, wait, you're going to be able to see. He said Nuwapians is just a word he came up with for what he had going on at the time. That's not true. The word Nuwapian or Nubian goes all the way back to ancient Nubia. He didn't come up. He said what they had going on at the time is still going on. This man is clueless. It is still going on. So Dr. York didn't come up with the word Nuwapu. It's an ancient Egyptian word. And the 3-part root is the same. I'll show you that this man doesn't know what he's talking. He doesn't know the ancient Egyptian language. But he's one of the Anunnaki gods. That might explain it though, because Sumer, it was established later. You understand that? Watch. Let's look at the 3-part root of NWB, where Nuwabu or Nuwapu comes from. All right. And let's look it up in ancient Egyptian, say ancient Egyptian language. I should give it to you. What does it mean? Oh, didn't take long. In ancient Egyptian, Nuwubu, all right, is not even Nuwapo. It's really Nuwupu, but that's a sacred tone. Nuwupu or Nubu, Nebu, Nebiun, prophet, gold. Let's see if we get some other ones. We got Nebu right there, Nubia. You see the commonality? So there's a 3-part root being expressed here, NWB. Now let's spell Nuwapu. And let's see if we can find that. N-U-W-A-U. Let's say B-U because it was Nuwabu. All right. The P came later, which was just another school, a part of that school to say we were learning that the P and the B are interchangeable. And there's a code that comes there. You'll find out certain words have been hidden because of that. Like pylon and Babylon, like I wrote down to y'all. All right. So the Nuwabian nation, also known as the Nuwabian movement or United Nuwabian Nation, refers to an American new religion. See, that as soon as they start, as soon as they say refers to, they lose it. As soon as they say refers to, they lose it. An American, wrong. New religious, wrong. Movement, wrong. And black separatist group, all that's wrong. The whole thing is wrong. You see what I'm saying? But they don't know that because it's not something that you just talk to people about. You had to walk through and experience it and exemplify it. You with me? I got 56 seconds. We're going to come back. Part 2 of YP, RASHAD JAMAL, Nature Boy, all cap. All right? So that's a lie. Dr. Melakazi York didn't come up with the word Nuabu or Nuwapi or Nuwabian or Nebu or Novum or Nebium or Nbia or Navy or Naval or Nativity or Nati or Net